Wrong screen right there. Got it. What the heck? Why did that happen? Okay, there we go. There we go. There we
Oh,
go.
can you flip?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So I gotta make sure this is all running right, y'all. So this is my first time having like a I know I did the moon landing thing. So there's that, but this is gonna be a more of a spirited debate as is. Last time it was more of a discussion. I have a friend here. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name's Stephen Vaughn, um, former Avon Township trustee. I've served locally in my community, uh, worked very bipartisan with people on both right and left sides. I'm here to essentially make the case of why I myself and I believe others should vote and support for Donald Trump in the 2024 elections.
Okay. See, I'm still having issues. I know what I'm finna do. I know what I'm finna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Here we go. This is what we're gonna do. I had to change stuff up again because it didn't work out the way it was supposed to.
Oh,
All right, so
sounds good.
it's a different look. Can you see me though?
I can see you.
Okay, great. Okay, I had to change the way this is set up because it wasn't working. Okay, all right. So let's start this with just I just want you to let the people know, so I don't make your argument, why you support Donald Trump in 2024.
Yeah, sure. So let me first start off. 2016, I did not vote for Donald Trump. I did not vote for Hillary Clinton either. I voted the Libertarian Party. For me, in 2016, he was saying, in my opinion, right, a lot of the verbiage back then and in the first early 8 years of his presidency was a big turnoff for me, right? So for
Mhm.
me, um, when he first was elected and was trying to work out peace with North Korea, saying things like "Little Rocket Man," right? My button's bigger than yours, and it actually works. In my mind, I thought this was some wild shit. I don't know if we can cuss on this.
Oh,
So
you heard me. You heard my mouth.
yeah. So I thought this was some wild shit. And then I blink, and couple months later, I see him crossing the DMZ. And for many things at the time, right, we were technically still at war with North Korea. When President Obama was leaving the Oval Office, North Korea was at that point the largest perceived threat and apparently also the largest threat that he communicated to Trump during the transition. When I saw a US president walking legally into North Korea, shaking his hand, diffusing the risk of nuclear war with North Korea, that was the first kind of turning point. I started saying to myself, well, let me give this guy a chance because every president I've always given a chance. Even Biden, right when he was first elected, I said, let's sit back and see how this works. I watched the inauguration of every president very sacredly. Like for me, that's a very watching the new president get sworn in, right, is something that's very important. Um, and then as I was also kind of paying more attention, at first I thought during the campaign people were saying was saying people that were from Mexico are rapists and murderers. But then I said, well, he said that. Let me see what he actually said in full text. I watched the full speech, and he said, I'm essentially speaking about MS-13, that they're rapists and murderers coming across the border. I'm like, well, that's a whole like spin on what he said that the major media is portraying him as. And almost every single time when I step back and see what does the major media say about him, let me watch the full speech, the full context, even if it's an hour, hour and a half, I get a different perspective of what they are spinning towards me. And so I started slowly building up a certain level of understanding that there is a large presence on trying to spin what he says, paint him as something that he is not. And then I started watching actions, right? So words, talk is cheap, but what are your actions? And so I started watching his actions, and when I started seeing things like stay in Mexico. If someone comes here and wants to claim asylum, you can claim asylum. But while you're waiting for your case, he worked out a deal with Mexico where they have to stay there. He got Mexico to send thousands of troops to maintain their border, to essentially help filter out waves of people, of which some, I think 99% of people that are trying to come into this country through the southern border are great, hardworking people that want to contribute to our society. The problem is that there is a portion of people that are coming that are criminals, are rapists, are murderers, are drug traffickers of fentanyl and all these other things. So that needs to be heavily vetted. You can't just let these people in while they're waiting for their court date while we have no idea who they are.
Mhm.
Then I saw him with the tax cuts. Every year I had to keep all my receipts, every single one of my receipts when I filed my taxes. Then he pushed through a massive simplification of the tax code. And it was simple, just increasing the standard deduction to the point where the average person now doesn't have to manage how much did I pay in student loan interest, how much are my mortgage interest payments. Let me keep every receipt that I've ever made in terms of donations. They just take the standard deduction. The average person listening, how often do you go through your taxes, look at it? Are you taking now your standard or your itemized? I used to always take itemized. Now it's standard. So it made my taxes massively simplistic. Um,
So I got
that
to my
Yep,
bad.
go ahead.
So given all that you said, you watched them, the mainstream media and all that, do you think that generally, as far as the two parties, we more or less want the same things, right? We just have different
Oh,
approaches to
100%.
them. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. Like I think both parties we pretty much want the same things. We just have different approaches to get into them.
Yeah, what
So
do we want? We want safe neighborhoods,
yeah, we
right? We
want
want to be able
safety.
to not.
We want to feel like we can afford to live pretty much without any huge stressors. You know what I'm saying? We want our kids to get a decent education. You know what I'm saying? We want to feel safe. We
And
want to have money, pretty much.
yeah, for me, it's like less. Do I want money? Do I want the ability? If like, because
Eh,
I'm a big believer in meritocracy, right? If I work hard,
Right.
I do well, I should be rewarded proportionally for that. So I want the ability for everyone to go out and have the same level of opportunities, not necessarily the same outcomes,
Right.
right?
Right. And then
So
I was gonna say, so would you say that when you begin looking at candidates for president, are there any non-starters like, I don't really know what their policy is, or even after you hear them, like, is there anything that they can do or say that you can be like, you know what, that's beyond the pale. Like, I can't elect somebody like that. Is there any
within the
non-starters?
yeah, within mainstream politics, right? And I'm looking at that because you get the crazies, right? If you look at some of the Um, there's like libertarian candidates. There's a guy named Vermin. He wears a boot on his head. He runs for president every year. He
Mhm.
promises free unicorns for people, right? Like there's crazies out there. But looking at the mainstream politics, the truth is I see it things as two different dynamics. One, the status quo, right? Which is, I understand why people would want the status quo. I see the Clintons, the Bushes, yes, the Obamas, the Bidens, and yes, the Harrises is the status quo. They, I don't believe there will be much of a difference necessarily in truth between Kamala Harris and George W. Bush, or even Clinton or Obama. When Obama got elected, I was very optimistic, extremely optimistic for him. I remember being at Northern Illinois University when he was elected. The campus was lit afire, and it was in a good way, right? Not real fire. It was a celebration, and I was extremely optimistic. And it didn't take me long to realize almost every single one of his policies, with exception of the Affordable Care Act, was almost exactly in line with George W. Bush, and yet he painted himself as he was running as being completely opposite as George W. Bush. Right? He maintained the wars overseas. He expanded wars in Yemen, and for me, he ran as a peace candidate, and so that was a big turnoff for me. But which is why I didn't vote for him in after 2008. And then
But what
so what?
I was gonna say, I wanted you to answer. What are your non-starters though?
Oh, non-starters.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
so like what's
non-starters. Like, what is something that disqualifies you from even considering somebody?
so for me personally,
Yeah.
do you respect individual rights in the sense of and you know right now out of both Harris and Trump, they both have flaws. One is heavier weighted than the other, in my opinion. But like for example, I'm a big supporter of the Second Amendment. Out of both of them, Trump is definitely the better choice in that area, but he's not perfect, right? When he was president, he banned bump stocks. That's something that I acknowledge and recognize. But for me, that right is essential because without that right in America, you run the risk of losing every other right. With that right, it's the final check, right? During COVID, every other nation in the world had harsh lockdowns. To the point where if you caught COVID, they sent you to camps. Like look at Australia and New Zealand; they sent people to camps if you caught COVID. In America, they couldn't get away with that um, because they knew that people ultimately had this final check. For me, it's also I don't know, like it comes down to I feel like that's one of the biggest issues on mine that's truly non-starter. Because with that right, the American people will always have a final say in how their government operates. We can disagree on taxes, we can
Right.
disagree on border policy, but I know I can protect my home at the end of the day.
But okay, I think it's funny that those are your two non-starters when literally Trump is worse on both of those if we consider the case, especially the Second Amendment. Like you said, the bump stocks. Nobody, Obama, Clinton, Kamala, Biden, nobody is talking about taking anybody's guns. They just want
No, that's a
laws
lie though.
that
I mean,
make sense. That makes
Clinton
sense.
himself yeah, Clinton himself banned what he called assault rifles in the 90s. Obama tried to do the same thing. He tried to ban it. He just didn't have the votes. Kamala Harris even said, if you have a gun in your house and it's not being appropriately stored, we will come into your house, we will search it, and we will find out and take it. So that's just not true. I mean, her California,
I
she
s
comes
but
from
no,
California. They
I
have the
said I
worst gun
said
laws in the
I said they're not trying to take them away. I'm not. I
they are.
know people.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we're not gonna go off of. Well, they did this before, and
Yeah,
now this is. I
yeah, yeah,
wanna.
yeah.
We could go off of now. I could say like, Trump said this. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna talk about stuff he's talking about now for this election.
Yeah.
Like,
So
and
so
and I
so when it
agree.
comes
Like the people change their position. I don't hold people against changing positions. I don't. I'm not. I don't think that when you say something, that's how you have to feel for the rest of eternity.
oh, for
So
sure, for sure.
I want to go off what
Actions
these
speak
people are
louder.
running
Yeah.
on. If Kamala's openly saying I'm not taking anybody's guns, but yet
So, but
Trump is the
actions,
one.
action, yeah, but actions speak louder than words. And granted, he banned bump stocks. The Supreme Court ultimately ruled that unconstitutional. He did that in a wake. So people think Trump is some hardcore right extremist. He's actually an extreme moderate. You want a centrist? Trump's the centrist. He's a
I don't even
1990s
think he's a.
Democrat.
I don't think he's a right extremist. I think he's just an
Yeah.
extremist. Period. I don't think he's
So,
even like he's just not even on a political spectrum. It's just him as an individual is extreme. It's not about a political spectrum with
but when
him.
you look at it, look at here in Illinois, like as a whole, right? As a whole, you know, and I think most people know, the Democrats want to ban guns. And the reason why they say we're not coming
No,
for your guns,
no, that's not true.
we just want to ban assault rifles. Can you tell me what's the difference between an AR-15 and a 9 millimeter handgun?
What do you mean? What's the
Functionally,
difference?
what's the difference between a 9 millimeter Glock and an AR-15?
A lot of people don't know what AR-15s is. When people say that, they're really talking about fully automatic
Well,
guns.
those are
When
already
people,
illegal.
I know that, but I know
Those are
that, but that's what
yes.
I'm saying. Like
But
they
that's not what the
say that,
Democrats do. The
yeah,
Democrats sit
they
there and
they
say
go
we need to
after
ban
the
assault rifles,
AR-15s
and
because
part of
that's
that's AR-15s,
but because and they mostly
AK-47.
attribute it to you can do more damage with an AR-15 than an assault rifle, so that is why they kind of on that. I'm not. I don't care personally about those type
Yeah,
of
yeah,
guns. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not
yeah.
saying nobody should have it. I'm not saying let everybody have it. I just don't care about AR-15s.
Yeah, yeah, but
Long guns.
that's just but here's the
So
problem with that, right? They wanna do it to curb gun violence without recognizing the fact that the majority of gun violence more people get killed with blunt hammers than they do with assault rifles in this country.
yeah,
More
and you know
people
that
get
well. You
killed with
also know that
handguns.
more people get killed by Americans than illegal immigrants too, right?
Well, I mean, just sheer laws of numbers, right? There's 300 million Americans versus maybe
Right,
oh, and when you
but you
see
treat it,
immigrants, like,
like it's this. Oh my God, like you
well,
know what I'm saying.
what's the
And
number?
you're more
What's the
likely to,
number?
huh?
I was gonna say, what's the number? The number is just sheer probabilities, right? We have 300 million
Right,
plus Americans versus
right.
so many number,
So
and
why
you know,
do but
immigrants is a
why do
weird
they
thing
why are they why are they I think that you're more likely to get shot in a school shooting than killed by an illegal immigrant.
I think you're more likely to get shot in a mugging than you are in a school shooting by a
Probably.
handgun, than a rifle. I think your risk of being stabbed to death in London is probably higher than being killed in a school shooting.
Well, but notice that nobody's on the right advocating for getting rid of guns, but they want to get rid of illegal immigrants when people on the left want to get rid of illegal immigrants that are violent,
Yeah.
and they kind of wouldn't mind more gun restrictions. So
So
there's a level
so
of
here's the th
consistency there, right?
so no, so here's the reason why let's talk about immigration. Here's the reason why I don't think it's just people on the right. I think there's a lot of blue dog Democrats, which are probably more right leaning today, right? But there's a lot of reasons why you'd want to get rid of what we call illegal immigrants, right? Which terms are terms, right? So we have people coming here. My wife's an immigrant. Her family's immigrants. They came here to America legally. They went through a green card process, eventually became U.S. citizens before her and I ended up dating in high school. But um, you know, immigration is a great thing. We want people to come here. We want hard workers. We want people that are skilled and talented to come here and make our country better. That's what made America great, right?
Right.
Think about it. My family's immigrants, your family, unless you're even you go
No,
back to
yeah,
Native
that's
Americans,
the
where do
root
they
of
come from?
that's the root of what America
Right?
is immigrants. Yeah.
Right, exactly. You know, and for me, like the idea that we should be welcoming hardworking, good people. And you know, one thing that Vivek Ramaswamy mentioned that I thought really hit a chord to me is your first step into coming into America to become a citizen should not be to break its laws, right?
Mhm.
So knowing that we have law, and now granted, we have all these people that are coming in, they're not illegal, you know, just to be clear. The Biden-Harris administration is giving them asylum status, right? You come
What?
into
No,
a
no,
port
no.
of entry.
You're saying they're giving them asylum status. That's the problem with immigration, though. It's the asylum process, right?
So
That's really
the
the
process
issue.
itself, yes. Yeah, the issue
Yeah,
is the process, right?
yeah.
The issue is that you come here, you claim asylum, and it takes you 2, 3 years to be able
To
to
get
get
a
to your
court.
court date,
Yeah,
and then you're here technically under legal status,
right.
but at the same time, you don't know who they are, and then they commit crimes, and they still stick around. They get released same day. I mean, we've seen it in New York where they attack cops and get released same day, and they're flipping off the media. It's like that should be immediate
Yeah,
deportation.
I don't
Immediate.
understand why that's not a
Yeah.
thing. I'm not gonna cape for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I
And
don't
so,
get
like,
why
and that's
anybody that's not here through asylum committing
I know what you're
crimes
saying. Yeah,
staying. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I would never say
We could
that
agree to
that's
the same terms. I won't get
yeah.
too hung up, but
Yeah, like when I
I just want
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But for me, I look at it, and this is a reason why so many people, right? Because they look at it, they take a step back. I'm just trying to put yourself in this perspective. They take a step back and they see one party, and I don't believe in right and left necessarily. I use those terms because that's what we all
That's what
understand
we
what right
use.
is,
Yeah.
left is. But if you ask me, I'm more libertarian. There's things that Trump's no libertarian, and I've talked with people. I'm like, he's no libertarian at all.
Mm.
But you look at it and you see one party creating sanctuary cities, pushing for this. They want to give mass amnesty. They say they don't, but they did this in California, and that's why California used to be kind of a middle of the road. I think that states that are more middle, these swing states, they're the greatest states that we have in this country because that creates the competition of ideas to see who actually wins out in these ideas. Where you get these like Illinois, where we live, California, New York, they become these hardcore one side perspective, pushing anyone else of a different perspective into other states. Illinois has become more blue, which is not a good thing because it creates less of a challenge to their ideas. And those people fled to Florida, Texas, creating more division than we need. We need, essentially, gridlock states across the country. But you look at this and they take a step back and they see one party's heavily for this, and one party's trying to be, and granted, I think both sides have people that have extreme opinions.
Right.
Some people are against immigration because they don't like foreigners, right?
Yeah.
I do believe that as I've met them in myself, but the vast majority want strong immigration rules and laws and enforcement because they want to protect the country we have. They want to let immigrants in. My own wife's an immigrant, her whole family's an immigrant. Like first generation, she's born in Eastern Europe in a former communist nation, came here when she was 10. Um, there is a lot of resistance against unvetted processing, which is currently what's happening. And Trump comes in and he offers the solution, which you can't say the Biden administration just accidentally let this happen. Very first day, Biden with Harris. I mean, ultimately, she said she wouldn't change anything that Biden has done throughout his presidency. Very first day, he overturned multitudes of executive orders that protected the border, such as stay in
Come on,
Mexico,
remain in Mexico.
such
But that
as
was remain in Mexico isn't like it's kind of showing a little bit less humanity to those people though, right? If it's like I'm
I
in
mean.
danger, that's why I'm here. It's like, okay, stay over there.
So here's the thing, though.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
So if you're
and I
yeah,
get your
if you're
perspective, but
so if you're fleeing from Venezuela, right? Venezuela was a terrible country. I think I watch a lot of travel videos. It's one of my hobby is watching people travel to different countries, right? So and a lot of travel videos I've watched. There's one YouTuber in particular who's gone to Venezuela many times, and back when it was dangerous, and now, and it's like night and day safety because they've released all their criminals out of it. It's true. You go there, and he goes to neighborhoods, and he goes, "Oh, this I used to not be able to come down the street," and they're like, "Oh yeah, all the criminals they left the country, or where they leave, they're here." Um, so if you come here requesting asylum, fleeing Venezuela, the first safe country you enter, shouldn't that be where you claim asylum? I mean, m- people have this,
I mean, like I said, we said it's broken.
yeah. I
The
mean,
asylum
Mexico
system is
itself is
broken, and I
not
don't think it's fair to be like it's
yeah,
Biden because you don't act like you don't know about what Trump did with the border bill, and
well,
I'm not
the
going to
border
attribute
bill.
your
What? Yeah,
argument, but because I
yeah,
know what
yeah, but
the
what?
argument is, the
Yeah,
most popular one.
Yeah, well, what did the border bill do? It did a few things, right? One, it combined it with other stuff, as they always do,
But it
right?
seemed to be more right leaning, more conservative.
Well,
Seemed like
no,
they got more out of the deal.
what they did is they're giving billions of dollars to Ukraine, which that's its own issue that should be handled separately. It was codifying, legalizing the processing of numbers of essentially legalizing what the Biden administration is currently doing with this amnesty bill, but allowing it at higher numbers than we've been seeing currently. So that was the real sticker.
It was no numbers.
No,
I mean
there was
right
numbers,
no, I mean right now it's no number, but it was capped.
but that cap number was higher than we've been seeing on as an average.
Does that make
So
sense?
what they
Does
essentially
that
said is,
really
let's say,
make sense though?
yeah. So I'm making up numbers here, right? Just kind of as an example. But let's say on average we're getting 10,000 people in a day, making it up. But they came in and they said, okay, well, how about we cap it at 12,000 a day? And so the question is like, well, we're already getting 10,000 a day. So what are you talking about? You're already letting them in legally through your amnesty process. So why would we give you the congressional authorization to go up to 12,000 a day?
I don't know the number, but I'm not gonna sit
Yeah,
here
I don't
and
know.
act like I
That's why
remember
I'm. That's
them.
why I'm just
But I
making it
don't
up.
think that's what it was. I think the numbers are surpassing whatever the cap was. I
But
think, to my understanding. I don't remember
but
what those
but
numbers are, but
that's the primary reason people think
and
and Trump didn't kill it, right? He doesn't make votes, but he has sway, right? Anyone that says he doesn't have massive influence in
he
the
does.
legislators is lying. He has massive influence.
Mhm.
So, but it's not just him.
Well, but they came
Rank and
out and said it.
file.
They said it. They said Trump killed the bill. Like all those
Well, the left said it.
conservatives, the
They
Republic.
didn't say it. They said we're not voting
Wait.
for X, Y, and Z.
No, the Republicans that came out, they on video, they said Trump. I don't know why he would do that. Like they said,
Oh,
you didn't see that
why
video
would
where
he?
they was all saying
Oh,
like Trump killed the bill.
so who's all they? Because when you think about it, if I vote no on something, I have my clear reasons of why I did it. Now, I don't have someone whispering in my ear, aka Trump, saying, "Here's why I don't think that bill should pass." And I'm like, "Oh, you're on that side too. Okay, that might influence me a little bit." But there was massive reasons why not to vote for that bill. And we're
So
talking about the bill. Why wouldn't
was it to let the problem persist? That is that better?
so so
Like I said,
here's
even
where I kind of
Obamacare, it's like,
yeah.
is it perfect? No, but does it get something
No,
done?
that's not
Yes.
perfect.
Right.
So
So, but does it get
and
something done?
even yeah, and even Trump's admitted that, right? Even Trump worked through on doing some adjustments to the Affordable Care Act. But which is why Republicans, the old school Republicans aren't his biggest fan necessarily. But talk about a bill. When Trump was president, the left and the Democrats fought tooth and nail to finish the border wall. Now they want the border wall. He had massive amounts of border wall paid for and done. All I had to get was installed. They scrapped that metal for pennies on the dollar because they don't want to build the border wall. Um, as soon as Biden comes into office, he reverses every executive order that Trump had in place that protected the border. And now they claim they want to protect the border through massive spending through this bill, and now it's Trump's fault. So it's like you every step of the way you're fighting it, and then you do something that's not exactly what the right
Besides
wants.
remain in Mexico, what did he kill? What did he retract?
You know? So it was remain in Mexico. It was immediate deportation if you're caught breaking laws, right? So that's a federal issue. There was various. I think the number was something like 84 executive orders related to the border. I think it was something like that. 80 sounds right to me. I'd have to double check. I might be wrong on my number, but I thought I've heard a stat that there was over 80 executive orders related to the border that the Biden administration day one reversed. Um, and these are all things that, there's a reason why the Border Patrol has endorsed Trump. I mean, the Border
They're
Patrol is endorsing Trump
frustrated, of
because they,
course, and because he says a lot.
yeah,
I'm not saying that they don't matter, but I'm saying, of
yeah.
course, it's like he makes it. People believe a lot of the bullshit Trump says, so they're susceptible to it too. But I realized we got onto policy, and that's where I wanted to
Yeah, yeah,
go at the end. That
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
wanted this. I this is a debate, and it was supposed to be Trump versus anti-Trump. So,
yeah, yeah.
when I asked you about the non-starters, I want to. Matter of fact, we can we can streamline this conversation and we don't have to go into it. Are you willing to say that you don't care about character in your president? Are you willing to say that? Like, I don't care about the character of my president.
I think that's a complicated question
I
because for
do. I
sure,
agree. It's not simple, but
yeah,
I just
for
want to know if
sure,
you're willing to
I
say that.
care about for sure I care about character, but what does that mean, right? I care about character in terms of
So I get
what are you willing to do for the people?
okay.
Like, right? Like both Harris and Trump have character problems,
Nobody. I'm
right?
not asking for anybody to be perfect.
Yes, yes. I mean, I'm not going to say specifics, right? There's sexual issues on both sides. There's various
Wait,
different
what
personal. I
sexual
mean,
issues on both sides?
well, you look at Kamala Harris. How did she start her career?
She got
What
voted in
politician?
for she.
No. What
She got
politician was
voted
she?
for.
What married politician was she with
Wait, her.
before
You
she
talking about
got?
the estranged married man that wasn't with
Um,
his wife for 10 years?
there's Montel Williams, right? Her own husband.
So what is
The issues
Montel?
with
Wait,
her.
why she
Yeah,
can't? Wait, why can't she date somebody?
it's both sides. Is what I'm saying.
No,
There's
it's
both
not a
sides.
both
Your
sides. Wait,
question is,
wait. All
it is
she
both
did was
sides.
date people.
She dated someone when he was dating someone else, and there was a
Who?
threesome
Who?
there.
Wait, 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 wait,
And
wait,
then
wait, wait. So if
there's
sing
pictures of Montel Williams saying these are
that's
my girls, and one
that's
of them is Kamala
wait,
Harris.
okay, that's fine. But what is the crime in that?
There's no crime.
Right,
There's no crime.
right.
There's no crime.
I'm
But
right.
then is and on the Trump side, right?
He
Whether or
committed a
not, let's say,
crime,
like, what crime?
the sexual assault.
Was that a crime that he was charged with?
I'm sorry, he's a sexual abuser, liably a
For a
sexual abuser
crime that
for
was
right,
20,
right.
30 years, for
Uh,
something that he was being accused of 20, 30 years with no witnesses, no actual evidence in a trial jury that is almost
everybody's against
190
Trump. Everybody's against Trump.
99% against Trump, yes,
Everybody's against Trump. Trump doesn't do
and then
anything.
past that, no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Past statute of
Who's
limitations.
also said he
And
grabs them by the pussy, who said he goes in the room and watches the girls when they
no, no.
change.
What did he
He
say? What did
said
he say? He said, "This is crazy." He said,
they
"If
let
you
you
watch
do
the whole speech."
anything.
He says,
I
"It's
grab them by the
crazy.
pussy.
If you're rich and not I." He goes, "If you're
You
rich
can
and
grab them by
famous,
the
they let
pussy.
you do this." He's like, "They let you do that." And
Hmm.
do you disagree that there's not many women, not all, right? Not all, of course. I think the majority don't, but there is many women out there, and I think anyone who says this is either lying or being oblivious, that don't get starstruck over
I'm
rich
not.
and fame.
That's not the
And
point.
there's
I know that.
groupies. Well,
I
and
know. I know. I
he's
know.
talking to a bunch of
But we're
guys,
but we're
right?
also
And
talking about a pattern of behavior. We're not talking. I'm
well,
not. I know that celebrities, women throw themselves at them. That's not the issue. We're talking about a pattern of
so
behavior. We're talking about the
so
same man
making
that said
what
E.G.
behavior?
We're talking about the same man that said E. Jean Carroll, she wouldn't be the one if he was to. He basically said, if I were to do
She's
something, she
ugly.
wouldn't be the one. Even, but she's ugly. But he thought she was his wife. He got her confused with
She's
his own wife. How
well,
is she
was that
that
a slip of
ugly?
the
She
words?
resembles his
I
wife.
mean, is that the mix-up of words? I mean, here's the problem with that E. Jean Carroll, right? She comes forward 20, 30 years later looking for money. Let's be honest. What did something happen? I don't know. I'm not with Trump. I'm not with him every step of the way. Did he have a consensual relationship with someone and then 20, 30 years from now you're rich and famous and but controversial and you're going to be able to write a book and get famous
That's
and get
always
all
what
this
it
fanfare?
is.
So, but it's true. I mean,
I
it
know.
is true. I
No,
mean,
no, it's possible. It's not true. It's
it,
possible. It's
it's
possible.
more likely. It's more likely, in my opinion, generally speaking, if it's 20, 30 years later, no evidence, no witnesses, just your word versus his, past statute of limitations. They created
I
a
just think.
waiver in the statute of limitation for 1 year, and you know it's purposely to get Trump.
I just
It was
think it's.
purposely opened up in the wake of all this so they could go after him right before the election.
I just think it's weird that
Why else would they open up the statute of
somebody
limitations?
shows you a pattern of behavior, and
Well, what
then
pattern of
when that
behavior?
pattern of behavior is exposed, it's like, nah, everybody's against them.
But
Like
what pattern
the
of
way he's
behavior?
talked about women, what he's been
Like
accused of and found liable for. I mean,
the one we're talking about right now,
even the way
right?
he's
Accused
talking
of
now,
and
I'm gonna do. I know it's tongue in cheek, but I'm gonna do it whether the women like. It just seems like he doesn't have the capacity to understand what respecting women looks like. And
oh,
I'm
so then
not.
I have a
I wasn't there. I can't say yeah he did that
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
but I know he's been found liable, and his pattern of behavior doesn't lead me to believe he wouldn't do that.
So I guess the question becomes, Do you and I don't know, but at the end of the day, someone has a drastic accusation. I think of my 2 boys, right? And if they're in a situation where they are with someone consensually, and I'm not saying they were or weren't, but let's say they were in a situation when they're older consensually, then they go off and they kick ass in life. They make millions of dollars, then they become famous. That person comes out of the woodwork saying, "You raped me."
It will
I
have to
mean,
be looked
with
into.
no evidence.
It will have to be
And
looked
then,
into.
but now they're in a they're being charged it was civilly, right? Because of course it's not criminally. Of course
Yeah.
not. Of course it's civilly where the limitation to be found
Civilly,
liable
yes, yes.
is just like above 50%. If I think it's above 50%, then yes, he's liable. And oh, it's just money. He's not going to jail. If you find him guilty, he just has to pay some money. It's not that big. He's worth billions. Just pay the millions of dollars. Who cares? So the even on the jury's perspective, that window is much lower. You know, do I think it's unheard of if you have a lot of money, you're controversial, you're famous? Maybe over time that lady has clearly different political beliefs. She thinks I can help my political side by doing this. This lady has nothing but incentives to come forward
Well,
on this issue.
but she wasn't
So,
the only one too, though. That's not his only accusation. And I do, like I said, I'm not denying that
well,
men get accused wrongly. I know that's a
Biden
thing.
did too by his own
Yeah, he
staff
did,
member.
but
Yet we don't talk about it.
is it a
I mean,
pattern of behavior?
I don't know. The
Again,
guy sniffs children.
you can be
Over
weird on that.
Halloween, he was biting babies.
I
He was
mean,
biting babies just yesterday.
it's weird. Yes, it might be freaking weird, but he doesn't
That's
have
not Harris. Harris isn't that weird.
he doesn't have a pattern of behavior of women accusing him of sexual assault
I mean, he does.
throughout his career.
His own wife was married when they started, and even his wife Jill Biden, her husband did interviews saying, "I thought we were together, and then local police officer, oh, I saw Joe Biden in your Corvette driving around." So I mean,
What
he's
is
not
that?
beneath. He's not beneath sleeping with married women.
I'm not talking
So
about
there is
sleeping. Wait, how is sleeping with married women in the realm of sexual assault? Again,
So
I
I'm
don't
saying
like
what evidence or what pattern do you have that Trump has sexual assault?
women accusing him of assault throughout his career
So
on numerous
wealthy and
occasions, and
so
actually
which
being
women?
found liable for
So you mentioned
Jessica
one, right?
Leeds,
I know there's
Ivana, Kristen Anderson, Jill Hart, Lisa
you mean
Boyne.
Yvonne, his wife?
You can't assault your wife.
No, I mean his wife who they had good relationships up until her death. I mean, women, especially when you're going through divorce and you're worth billions, you don't think the other side that has less to gain
You
isn't
have
gonna
more to
say
gain
stuff?
by not accusing him of assault. If you are his
You have
wife and you
more
could
to
be with him
no.
and you can
If you're
gain,
divorcing him, if you're in the middle of losing your relationship,
yeah,
you have everything to gain
you
by painting him in the
you.
courts and saying he's doing this stuff to me. This is why I should get a bigger share. And I'm not saying that's what she did, but it
I just
happened.
okay. Well, let's okay.
So why
That's
didn't you
just
call the
another
cops and
drop in the bucket.
file charges, right?
That's a drop in the bucket. Okay, when I was talking about
Oh,
character,
so
so
at the yeah, so character, right? Character. What do I look at
I,
character? I look
I got
at
I got something for you to go off of. That's
oh,
what
go
I,
ahead.
I got. So do you not care? Now we all understand politicians. They embellish. They might tell.
Oh,
They
yeah.
might full blown lie. They mislead. They
Yeah, they all do this. They
they
all
all
do
do
this.
this.
They all
Okay.
fluff. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you feel about him lying to you as if you have no intelligence? Like there's like blatant, full blown lies, never admits to lying, never admits to making a mistake, never accounts for anything that he's done or said. He doesn't take any accountability for anything he's ever done or ever said. I don't think there's one point he's ever apologized, retracted, took accountability for anything that's ever went wrong that came out of his mouth or through his own actions. And like just
Well, right
full
there.
blown
Yeah.
lying where you can prove it. And it's things
Well,
that's
right
happened
there,
in
I
the
can tell you that's
past.
wrong because just recently on the Joe Rogan podcast, that was a question that was asked him, and his first response was, "I picked the wrong people during my first administration."
That's not accountability. That's not accountability.
So
Because he says, wait, first of all, he says, I hire all the right people, I pick the wrong people. And
yeah.
as soon as they don't do what he wants, oh, I picked the wrong people. That's not accountability. Because
Well,
they
it
don't
is
listen to him.
accountability to fire people, right? If not to listen to you, but if I hire someone, that's one thing that I look at, right? Trump did fire a lot of people, and those people came out, and now they're talking bad about him. As we've spoken before, people that get fired, they don't have nice things to say about who
I
fired them.
not 40
You,
people. You never heard the
a
quote. You
lot of
never heard the saying. If you meet one asshole a day, then they're probably an asshole. But if everybody
clear.
you
Yeah,
meet,
I mean,
if everybody you meet every day is an asshole, then maybe you're the asshole.
not in politics, man.
I just
Not in
wait,
politics.
wait, wait, wait,
Not in DC.
wait.
I mean, I have
Wait,
worked
wait,
with
wait, wait, wait.
politicians. Yeah, go ahead.
Wait. First of all, we neither one of us have been in DC as a politician, so I don't think it's fair to just be like, man, all these people dislike Trump. Man, they all suck. 4-star generals,
No,
people that agree with him politically, but took an oath to the Constitution, and these people out of their own mouth
take a
said,
step
I
back,
took an oath to
right?
the Constitution and not Trump. And then they
Yep,
tell
yep,
you
take a
this, and
step
it's like,
back.
oh, they disagree politically. What?
Yep, take a step back and think. I know local politics very well. I know from
Well, you said
Joliet,
DC.
Illinois. Hang on, Joliet. I said politics, especially in
You
DC.
said, yeah.
I know from local politics from Joliet all the way up to here where I live in Grays Lake, and there are sharks just within local and state offices, and it gets worse the higher you get up. Just true rotten people. I've dealt with them myself. The supervisor who I worked with here in this township, I saw firsthand. He was also a Lake County board member. We fought viciously against each other, and I saw firsthand what he was doing behind the scenes and pushing against it. And it's not just Republican or Democrat. This is just people that seek these offices. They have a certain mindset of power, and that's what they desire. I've learned that generally, and this is Trump, Harris, right? All of them. You want these offices. There's something different with you versus other people, and and I can only imagine if it is gets as nasty locally and it gets even nastier at the state level, how nasty does it get up once you reach federal level?
That's fine, but
To
why
the
is
point,
it
to the
that
point where people,
why is everybody wrong but Trump all the time? Why
not
is it
everybody.
Trump?
Who's
But
Oh, I see what you're saying. I
yes,
see
you're
what you're saying.
saying like, no,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
ain't Trump, it's them. It's nasty, so he had to get rid of them. Oh, the
Yep.
longest chief of staff he had said he fancied Hitler, and he tried to put himself before the Constitution. He has nothing to gain from this. He has nothing to. He's not, and he said he agrees with him politically mostly, but he should have no place in the White House.
Nothing to gain except no one was talking about this guy up until recently.
This ain't the first
You
time
know,
he
these,
said it though.
yeah.
It was, and I would,
Oh,
and I'll even grant you that it's a political play. I won't say that
yep.
it's not motivation behind it, but it's not like it's not understood. It's like, okay, this man actually could win
Oh,
president. I
yeah.
need to
So,
let
so
the
if
people know for sure.
I can speak to your primary question, right, with Trump and his ego, right? That is absolutely an acknowledged flaw of this guy, right? Looking back, even back during the Apprentice years, right, when which for me my first interaction with this guy. The "you're fired," I'm the best, everything's the best. If you watch, it's really good. The Joe Rogan interview he did. It's long, it's three
I
hours,
watched the whole thing.
but oh, it was good. The funniest thing, I laughed. I actually, I was laughing hard because he was like, when I lost the election, he goes, wait a second, I didn't lose the
I
election.
didn't lose the election. He doesn't even
I
know
didn't
how
lose the
to.
election.
He don't even know how
But
to speak on it no more.
well, I know what he's doing. Part of it is the moment you give him that soundbite, especially when this media is so aggressive against him, they'll take that soundbite and run with it. But he doesn't want to give him the soundbite. But also, in addition to that, the man clearly has an ego the size of the moon. When I mean, every building has his name on it. Everything is embroidered in gold. Even his, airplane has his last name printed on it. There is something to say. The guy has an ego. Every politician has an ego. You think Harris
You
doesn't
have
have
to
an
have
ego?
an
The
ego
difference
to
is
be a
they hide it
politician. You have to have an
for
ego.
sure, for sure. And they all. I mean, they all have egos. The difference is, do they hide it or do they show you who they really are? I mean,
I
and
mean,
that's
I
that's part
think
of the
there's a
appeal.
balance though. I seen Charlemagne say something. He was like, I don't
Okay, I
understand
like
how
it.
you could be a
Yeah.
politician. He said you either a narcissist or you really love this country, And I
Oh, it's
think
true.
I agree. I'm like, I don't get how it's not one of those two things. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he said
And
politician or president, but either way,
yeah,
I think
no,
it's still
I agree with the politician. I mean, granted,
yeah.
think about this. I mean, I served 4 years as a trustee. I considered moving further, and I looked around and I thought, this is all crap. Like these people, they make your lives hell, and it's like, why would you want to be in any of these positions other than you want this title? right? You want this title and you want to have some power over something because the pay is not that great unless you're doing corrupt stuff, right? Unless you're doing corruption, the pay's shit. I mean, so why would you ever, if you were skilled and had good qualities, why would you ever want to do it? That's why in business, right? A lot of people want to be in corporate because here's the thing: you can be in corporate and be, relatively middle to top tier in corporate, and you can make 3 times what a public official politician will make, technically. Now, where they make their money is through side room deals. One of the biggest things I always look for, and this is just every politician has these, but this is how you know they funnel money. They all have 501c3s, right? And the 501c3s they have is actually how most of them are able to accept money and bribes and then spend personally in that area. It's what gets a lot of them. Some when they do get in trouble, it's either their campaign or 501c3. It's harder because nobody wants to investigate a nonprofit. Um, but speaking on Trump's character, right? Do I think he's a flawed man? Of course. We're all flawed.
Yeah.
Two, what would it's hard to put yourself in this perspective. If I was born, and I think most people can think about this, there's no there's no doubt he was born in a life of privilege, right? His father Fred was worth millions and millions of dollars. I think he gave Trump like a couple $1 million business loan, which is kind of bullshit for a father when you first start off. How many people that were born in this lifestyle would just squander it and become little spoiled brats and not do anything with their life? Instead, he went through, worked hard. Whether you could say he could have done better doing different stuff, he did business, and some of them failed. Right? The more times you try something, the more likely you're going to fail. But ultimately, he took millions of dollars and turned it to billions. And I'm not saying that as a reason to vote for him because people make a fortune and be corrupt and crooked. But he did that through building, knowledge and skills and building people up, building an organization. Um, the level of work ethic it takes just to do that is something
Uh,
I think is you're born with a silver spoon in your hand. You're born knowing you never actually have to
does
work,
that mean
but
you
you
could
still
be
go out and do
president
all.
though? Especially with this, he has too many character flaws. I'm not. There's no president that's perfect. I mean, the man tells his own supporters full blown lies and won't ever rescind them. Like you don't care that he's lying about like the FEMA money, which is legitimately hurting people. The man saying I can't let FEMA help me because they're gonna take my house, and he rather has stayed and got killed in his home after the hurricane. Like, why?
I don't know what is that?
You're probably not familiar. There's a man after the hurricane. His son was trying to get him to, or before it came, his son was trying to
Yeah, they're
get
gonna
him to
leave.
leave, and he said no because they're gonna take my house if I get help from FEMA because
Oh, he
of
was
Trump.
believing that FEMA.
And Trump is
What
saying
what is,
they're allocating the funds for you guys from FEMA to illegal immigrants. And he doesn't
but why would that?
care.
But those are two different things.
No,
They're
no, they
allocating
are two. No,
funds.
they are two different things. I'm saying he said
Yeah.
both of these things.
So Trump said. I'm just want to make sure I understand what you're saying correctly. Trump said that if FEMA helps you with your house, they're going to take your house.
If you get funding from them, like they're gonna you're gonna lose your he's gonna lose his house. He believed that. It was an older
So
man.
Trump said that is what you're saying.
Yeah. And
I'd
he
be
also
interested to
said
see where he actually said that because I don't know if he ever said if you take FEMA funding, they're going to seize your house.
or
Um,
assets or something,
I don't.
but
I
you're
don't know if he ever said that.
are
Now
you
maybe
familiar
someone believes it.
are you
Maybe someone
familiar
believes.
but you're familiar with when he said they're using the FEMA money to help illegal
Yes, when he
immigrants
said you're getting only $750
as
and you're
if that
going
was
and
it.
they're out of
Yeah.
money.
Even though it wasn't it.
Yep, yep, I'm familiar with that. But here's the thing. The thing is they were running short on money because they were apparently funding for areas like that. Now,
No, that
that wasn't the
no,
only
no,
money.
no. Those are two separate funds that have nothing to do with one another. Running
Nothing to
out of
do. Okay.
and running out of money in that point, there was enough money to help people, but he was also presenting that whole 750 as if that was it when you can apply for more aid after down the line.
So you want to talk about
They
lying,
didn't
right?
run out of money because they were sending it
Yeah,
to
okay.
illegal immigrants, and he said that.
So I will I'm not certain about that, but I'll go ahead and take you on that word. But you want to talk about lying, and I hate playing whataboutisms. But if that is the parameter to not vote for someone, I mean,
Well, no,
Harris
that's not.
herself
No,
on the
don't say the
debate.
parameter. I have
Hang
a
on, hang on.
bunch. I have a bunch.
Yeah, if that's the I mean, if that's the Harris herself said the you know there's good people on both sides lie. during
I
the whole
did,
debate,
mind
she said
you, I'm
multiple
not gonna
lies.
pick just. I
So
remember I already said that both
yeah,
sides
yeah,
lie. I said that. I
yep,
said
yep.
both sides lie.
So
I'm not gonna
so
pick. I'm
I
not picking stuff that's like whatever. There's
yeah,
there's
yeah.
no
But that's my point.
harm in it.
My point is, well, like as you mentioned, both sides will say stuff. Whether even like most recently, it's real fresh, right? The garbage
Yeah.
point that Biden said, which I think is kind of I don't know. People are getting all worked up between the comedian and Biden and Trump showing up in a garbage truck. Like some of it's just kind of comedic at some point. But you look at this and you have to realize they're all gonna say stuff to try to push their narrative, both sides,
Yes.
right? So the question then becomes, what have you done? What is your policy,
No, I don't.
specifically
I don't
policy?
agree. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because it's at a point. It's like I don't really care what your policy is if you're gonna throw shit at me to get it done. Like it's like I said,
What
if you
shit?
had
I
two,
mean,
well,
word
listen to
talk
me.
is cheap.
You said you got
Talk
two
is cheap,
boys.
right?
Say I'm not gonna put it on your kids. Say you got two twins, and one of them took a cookie out of the cookie jar and he know he shouldn't be, and the
That's the
other one
policy.
and
Yep.
he lied about it. You asked him and he lied, and another one he has a body out back and he won't tell you about it after you ask him.
Well,
It's
that's
a
the
dead
policy,
body and he killed
right?
him. Are you treating him as the
Yeah.
same type of liar?
No, because those are two different policies. You're just looking. The killer is
What
the
I
Harris side, and the cookie is the Trump side. So I would look at that and say the
well, first
policy
of
is
all,
better
no.
on
You
Trump.
see, you're talking about
And
policy. Remember, I'm not. Before I can even talk about policy, I need to get past this person being sane. Like I'm not really concerned about any I could vote for a Republican if the Democratic nominee was just out of their mind. I don't have a problem with that. This ain't about policy. Like this person is out of their mind. That's
so I
that's
guess my
that's
question
my
is, in
issue.
terms. So your concern is the character,
Yeah,
the
I think
personality,
before
the
I can
ego
even and
is concerning
how
for
can I
you.
like me and you talking and I'm like, hey, let's have a conversation about politics, but yet you're having a schizophrenic episode. I can't get anywhere with you if we don't get past this situation right here. I can't have a substantive policy concern conversation when people are letting when Donald Trump is the presidential nominee and for what he's shown himself to be. I don't see how a policy conversation can be had after that. That's why I
So
said if we could get to policy, yeah, but somebody
I
that's
don't think, yeah, from a personality perspective, Trump hasn't. If you look at it,
so
he's not. In fact, he's softened, but
so you
he's
don't
not much different than he was 20 years ago.
he's different from
Um,
8 years ago. He's not even the same
I don't-
person.
Softer. I think
2016 Trump is not 24.
he's softened. In 2016, he was using crazier words.
No.
He was being more
Well,
aggressive.
he's getting older, so he can't use as many words, to be fair.
I don't think that's the issue.
He
I don't think
literally,
that's
we're
the
gonna.
issue.
It's huge. It's big. Everything's big. We're gonna have the best in the big. He doesn't have as many. Play 2016 Trump and 2024 Trump. He can't use as many words.
Yeah, my point is he was more controversial back then
I
in
don't know.
driving and stirring pots because he was coming in from as an outsider.
Yeah.
And he had
Uh,
to go against all the political
so,
established Bushes, right? All of the people, the Christies. Um, but putting all that aside, um, I mean, talk is I stick to this. Talk is cheap. I mean, it is. I mean, I don't care what a politician tells me. What are you doing?
he didn't.
What are you actually doing? I mean,
He
I mean,
didn't do anything.
I already
He
said
did,
all
I
the
mean,
things he did,
he
right?
did. Like, look, when I say anything, I mean
I know.
significant to most people. I know that Trump did
I don't. I
things,
feel like
but
I, I feel like
nothing.
the tax cuts helped me a lot. Within the first year, I
I don't
saw
know how
five
much you
thousand
make,
dollars
but
increase in my tax.
everybody didn't benefit from that. I don't. Everybody didn't benefit from
Yeah.
that. So, and I'm not
Well, I
saying
mean, these are your
everybody's
standard
supposed to
deductions.
benefit for everything, but
Yeah.
all he did was drive up the deficit with that. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? So,
the deficit's an interesting thing because you know
I don't want to get back on policy
spending
yet.
is not the revenue for the federal government is not the problem. It's spending. We spend billions of dollars, and Trump didn't fix this either. He's claiming he's going to fix it now with Elon Musk. Who knows?
All he says
But
we're
Elon
gonna
Musk,
fix it. It's gonna be better.
well,
Like you may go to his
but
website and there might be things on it, but most people are not doing that. They're listening to these
but
rallies.
here's the thing. Like Trump has a unique skill, and what he does is for better or worse, he involves a lot of different people and a lot of different things. Sometimes it doesn't work out. He hires people. you know, one thing he says, I hire great people, like you said. Actually doesn't. He hires people that he thinks might be good, and as soon as they're bad, he's good at quickly firing people,
Wait,
which
why is
most
it
people
that?
are not.
Wait. Why is everybody bad? Why isn't it that? Why aren't you taking the consideration that 40 people are like this man shouldn't be the president versus
So
no, they're just bad. He got to get rid
okay,
of him. I don't
so here,
his
yeah,
vice president. He didn't care if he killed him. Like I don't get how
so
you
here,
like shit. It is what
so
it is.
here's,
He didn't
well,
care if his vice
yeah,
president died. Like
so here's, yeah, here's the thing with that, right? So you look at it, and he mentioned this during the Joe Rogan interview. I didn't realize there was this many people. He goes, you ultimately have to hire 10,000 people, right? He goes, there's a couple hundred
can
that
you trust the
I
numbers he
personally have
say?
to select. Well, I can imagine it within the whole every office, every bureaucratic office
But
within
on him,
DC.
I don't think that's on him. I don't think that's on him.
Uh, what he clarified was you
Okay.
hire a couple hundred people, he appoints
Okay.
a couple hundred people, and then they hire the rest, right? So I can tell you, I've hired people before that I thought would be good, and within a matter of a couple months, I realized they're terrible, and I had to put them on performance plans. I've had to try to work with them. Ultimately, I've had to fire people before, and so you don't know someone until you actually get some time with them.
So
So
who's
it's
the
not unheard of for me
Okay,
to
so
hear.
it's fair to say that he's not good at hiring. Can we say that?
Well,
Since it's so
not good
many
at
people.
hiring 40 people, so that's your number, right? You said 40 people. It might be more,
Out
might
of
be more.
44. No, out of 44 cabinet.
So so cabinet, um, you look at this and you hire people and they might be working against you, especially these political roles. Their interests are not necessarily aligned with your interests. And yeah, I could imagine being in a
Even
role like
okay,
that, you're hiring
let me
people and
grant
you
you
might
that
have to let them go.
they're all bad and he fired them.
And I'm not saying they're all bad. The difference is
Well,
if you're the president of the United States, you have a policy. If you hire someone, let's say they're very competent, they're very good at what they do, but they're not doing what's aligned with your vision,
right,
yeah, they got to go. I mean, that's not in your
right,
administration. They're working in their own interests. So he might say they're bad, but the truth is they might just be working with their own interests in mind or what their own beliefs are. But they might be really competent people,
right.
right?
Okay.
Like
Oh,
Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris. I think Kamala Harris is probably she's clearly highly competent. This lady went from local county DA to a state DA to vice president of the United States, ran for president, failed miserably when she was running for president the first time. Somehow didn't even make it to the first primary, was able to, behind the scenes, get her way into the VP spot. And now she, through not ousting, but essentially highly pressuring Biden to leave, is now the VP, the presidential nominee, without ever having won a single state primary. That is skill. That no matter what you say about
I
that
mean that's
Republican,
I
that's
think
skill.
those are
That's
just
skillful.
where the dice roll. I wouldn't even say that's skill because
That's
it
skill.
only made sense to pick her at that point in time. If that had happened sooner, they probably would have opened the primary. They probably did. They probably would
Well,
have
then you have
opened
to
it
ask,
up.
why did they wait so long?
Oh, I
They
don't
want
because
something they can
I think they
control.
was trying. Look, I'm not. They tried to hide Biden's age. That's not. I'm not.
I mean, even
And
ask point
honestly,
blank
I don't
about his
even.
mental
Huh?
competency. Even ask point blank about his mental competency. She completely ignores it and brushes it off. I
No,
mean, we all
she
know
says she
he
thinks
should
he's
have invoked.
but she says she thinks he's competent, and I agree. I don't think Joe Biden is incompetent. I think he's too old to be president. But I think that if you have him in the room trying to figure out this next bill they want to pass or what to do about Iran, I think he can give you an answer and he can function day to day. Is he going to be able to do a debate? No. Is he able going to pack out an arena and give a speech? No. He was
So
not a
he's
good.
unfit
He
for
was
office.
he would no, because I don't think that's the primary job of the president. But
President's job is to be able to fully understand an issue and make a decision
and
on
I
that issue.
and I don't think he
And
has
if
any
he
problem
can't
doing
even,
that. I don't think
and if he,
that is not the same thing as debating. That's not.
I mean, anytime this guy gives a talk, he's like doesn't know which room he's in. I mean,
Does Trump?
um,
Wait, does Trump?
yeah, actually he does. I
No.
mean, the guy goes
Come
from place
on.
to place,
I
and
don't want to have to play that clip. I can't. I'm not
I
going to
think
let you sit here and act like Trump is speaking coherently when asked questions in a room full of people. Now, every single time,
now,
now I'm not going to say it's every
now,
single time, but
yeah.
I
What
have him
does he
for
said? He says he
days.
does the weave. He's like,
Yeah, and
I do the weave.
that's
I try to tie in
ridiculous.
other stories. Now, I believe it. I mean, I've been around people that's how they talk. I worked for
But he
people,
doesn't do it.
and what
He
they do
doesn't
is
do it.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
Andrew
they
Schultz
walk
said,
through
"Yeah, I
and
don't know where we're weaving to." Joe Rogan, he said, You're getting wide with your weave." He doesn't weave. He said, "Yeah, remember
you got to get back to it.
we were talking about generals, and then I brought it back to the general." What? No, stop. Don't cape for that. What are you gonna do about healthcare? Yeah, healthcare is important, but the numbers that I'm talking about, they're gonna be bigger than any numbers that you're talking about because we're gonna make it great. What are we
Well,
talking like? This is
big.
not.
Here's why they do it, and it's not just Trump, but here's why they do
Who
it.
is they?
Do it because people that talk like this, they talk in these weaves, and
There's
that's his
no
term, right?
weave.
That's not my
Like
term.
you're so
That's not
bought
my term.
in. There's no
Yeah, no,
weave. He
I just said
just
that's his
talks
term.
and doesn't
But
know where he's going.
no, what people do is they will bring up a topic, and that's not actually the topic I want to talk about. I want to talk about this topic. And
Yes,
it's not right or wrong, right? People, if you're in an interview like this, both sides, if you're asked a question, you should be giving direct answers to those questions.
I get what you're
But what they
saying.
do is they say, I don't want to talk about that necessarily. So I'm going to give you just a tidbit, and then I'm going to go off on here. So I'm saying something, and then maybe you'll pull me back. Maybe, and at the very end, I will tie it back in just a little bit. But 90% of it, five in the beginning, five on the end, but 90% of it, I'm talking about what I want to talk about, not what you want to talk about. That's really what's happening, and that's something that
It's
he's
not.
done throughout his whole career. I mean, the guy
But wait,
used
wait.
to.
Why is that? He doesn't do that though. He does not come back. If they don't bring him back, he won't come back.
And that's
You,
part of what it is. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. It's not
that,
right.
but
I'm not saying it's right,
okay, but
but if I want to talk about immigration, and you're asking me about, like, during that conversation, he asked them, "Are you really considering about ending the income tax?" Right? He didn't want to talk about the income tax. He said, "Yeah, of course, sure," but then he spends the rest of the time talking about tariffs and his whole idea around tariffs because that's all he wants to talk about. He doesn't want to talk about ending the income tax. He wants to talk about tariffs. And so that's kind of what you're doing. I'm not saying it's right
okay.
because if someone asks you a question, you should answer it. That's a
Okay,
fact,
so at
right?
the economic forum in Chicago where he said, "Do you think Google should be broken up?" He started talking about some lawsuit that he felt bad about. And then just stopped
Yeah,
talking. He said, "I asked you about Google."
yeah. I mean, but sometimes
That's not a weave.
that's a tough situation because you get asked, and I'm not saying if you get asked that question, you should answer it. But I get asked about Google, I'm gonna be very careful with what I say because
He
ultimately
wasn't careful, he
Google is
avoided it. But Kamala is
uh,
careful. You see what I'm saying? Like there's this double standard. Like I'm not holding Trump against avoiding a question that's difficult because I know, like when people ask, "Were you aware of Joe Biden's cognition?" And she has to say, "Yeah, I was." That's a very hard question. It's no real good answer, and I'm not faulting her for that. When they ask Trump
but
about
she's
why
lying,
did you
right?
kill?
She's
No,
lying.
she's not lying. It's
Yeah,
not a
she's
lie
lying.
to say if she believes that he can handle the job. That's not a lie. You just don't agree, and I agree
Then
too. I
why isn't
think
he running? I mean,
because the people don't want him to run.
but he won the primary.
Nobody want. They pushed him out there,
He got
but yeah, I mean,
he got
yeah,
what, was it 40, 40 or 80
he was the
million
winning
votes?
ticket, so
40
they
million?
wanted him to run again. But I
Yeah.
just think that they didn't have anything better, and clearly the Republicans don't have anybody better than Trump, which I disagree. But nonetheless, he's right behind Joe Biden in age, and for y'all to be so concerned about his age, Trump
I was
his
actually
age
never
is
concerned about yeah,
showing
no,
like a motherfucker.
I was never concerned about Biden's age. I was concerned with his mental capabilities even back in
If
2020. I
okay,
mean, there's a
that's even
reason
worse. Then
there's a
that's even
reason why
worse.
he
That's
there's a
worse.
reason why he did zero almost zero public events when he
That's
was running for
worse.
president.
If you're not
'Ca-
worried about age, but you're worried about their mental capacity, Trump is worse.
Mental capacity is the biggest issue, not age.
But that's worse
Age,
on Trump's
sure,
end.
it has an impact. I don't know if that's the case because I feel like Trump is just he's a little different. Definitely he's a little, but I also wonder how much of that there was a few different Trumps, right? There's Trump running in 2016, arrogant. The guy that he turned me off then. There's Trump as president. I actually grew to like Trump as president. That's what I saw his actions. Sure, he would say some wild stuff sometimes, but I would watch his actions and I'm like, he's doing really good actions. Picked wrong people, right? John Bolton was a terrible guy. John, what's his name? Riley? Was John Riley? Is that his chief of staff? Is that his name?
John Kelly.
Um, John Kelly, thanks. Um, there was various different picks. Pence, I thought he was like kind of vanilla. Like when he picked Pence, I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I guess he's like a hardcore like social conservative guy. Won't even be in a room with a woman alone because of the very fears,
Yeah.
right, that is facing Trump with these allegations from 30 years later. Um, when I looked at it, simply said to myself, okay, well, his actions. Just, I do believe. I was raised to believe talk is cheap. It's what do you do? What are your actions? And that I looked at that. I saw North Korea. I saw the stabilization in the Middle East. I saw the Abraham Accords. I saw the elimination of ISIS. I saw securing the border in terms of staying in Mexico, building almost 600 miles of wall against all the fighting of the left to not build the wall. That they don't work. Now they want the wall. Um, amongst all this stuff, the impeachments, the Russian fake hoax that has been proven to be fake. I don't like talking about it because I actually feel bad for Hunter Biden. I think he is. I do believe he's a like a hurt soul. But like the Hunter Biden laptop, how they came out and 50 plus intelligence agents said it's a hoax, and all the social media went through and banned it. Um, for all this stuff. Now, one area that I think Trump did, it's complicated, but with COVID, the COVID response,
Mm-hmm.
he, in my opinion, showed massive levels of restraint on taking power as a president during COVID. I
He
can't.
acted like it wasn't a big deal.
No, no, he left it up to the states.
Oh, I'm
He
talking about when
said
he said it'll
each.
go away. Excuse me.
Well,
He said it'll go
I mean,
away
it's away
by
now,
Easter.
right? I
Well,
mean,
no, he
his
said it'll be
his
gone
time
by
was
Easter.
different. Yeah, yeah, I know, but you don't know what it could have been. Granted,
He
we've
knew.
learned it, we learned it wasn't as deadly as it initially was. Right? Initially, we thought it was going to be like a 1 to 5% mortality rate. It was crazy. Every lockdown, he was the first one to lock down all travel between China. Nancy Pelosi and almost every Democrat called him a xenophobe for it. Turned out to actually be the right move because as viruses work, they're really dangerous when they first get out, and then they soften over time. Um, I worked for a company I used to work for. We worked under the Operation Warp Speed. We were operating under Defense Authorization Act
And
to
he can't
build.
even take credit for that because of his own base.
Well,
You
and he
notice
actually,
that
I mean,
Trump
he does
never,
though.
Trump does not speak on warp speed, which is one of the best things under his presidency, and he can't speak on it because his base thinks that vaccines are killing us.
No, I don't think the base thinks the vaccines are killing us. I think
They're
myself
anti-vax.
included. No, no, my children are vaccinated, but I never got the COVID vaccine.
That's fine, but
So,
a lot of his
I
base
mean,
is
but
anti-vax.
the issue I have personally, I can't speak for everybody, but the issue I have, and I know many people have the same sentiment, the issue had nothing to do with the vaccines. It had to do with the force. During
Yeah,
COVID, and they don't want to talk about this,
yeah.
one party, which was the Democrat Party, was consistently trying to force people with vaccine passports while putting pressure on companies to fire you if you're not vaccinated. You can't do basic functions of life unless you have this passport. Oh, I mean, Lori Lightfoot herself said, "We're gonna make it uncomfortable for you unless you're vaccinated."
Um,
Um, the lockdowns, I mean,
I'm
I mean, most I mean, I think outside of what's her name? The lady with the dogs. I actually like her. The
uh
the lady that she was the North or South Dakotan governor.
oh, I don't know.
She was the only one that didn't lock down, but every governor locked down, but the Republican governors quickly flipped, and within a couple of weeks, month, they said, "Okay, we're not locking down anymore." Even Wisconsin, their governor tried to lock down, but their state Supreme Court, which is primarily Republican, said no, you can't lock people down. People have a right to move, they have a right to assemble, they have a right to earn a living, so you can't lock people down. And but yet New York, California, Illinois. We were under pretty rough lockdowns back then, and we just brushed that under the rug. We forget that there was a whole subset of this Democratic Party that wanted to clamp down on people's rights and make it so you couldn't even go outside without papers. And yet we just brushed that under the rug. Now they want, and the whole time Governor Pritzker was going to Lake Geneva because they were open up there. His family was flying to their place in Florida. AOC was being caught in Florida with her boyfriend on vacation while she was supporting lockdowns in New York. So like there's a certain subset where people see this and say, well, one party was generally on the right side of this, and one party wanted to clamp down authoritatively and be literally mini dictators. I mean,
Uh
you can't tell me that Pritzker was not being authoritarian during his
I didn't
tenure here.
feel
And
I
this is
didn't I don't know. I think people look at it and I don't know. I think everybody talk about what wanted to happen versus what did happen. Everything I saw happen fell in line. Like people like jobs like teachers and nurses were the ones that kind of had to get it, which is no different than any other vaccine. And everybody, and since this is a once in a lifetime phenomenon,
not
like
just teachers and it's not just teachers and nurses.
teachers,
Like,
no,
I
I'm
worked for
saying
a
like
company that I worked
I,
for a company. I won't say the name, but I worked for a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company.
they
They're in
might
the
have did it,
tech
but that was on
business.
the company though. That was on the company. That wasn't Joe
It
Biden. It
was
wasn't
because
Jessica.
they were being heavily pressured by the states.
Uh,
It's not.
no,
There's behind the
they
scenes
had their
stuff,
own,
man.
nobody made any. No private
Uh
company was
huh.
forced to do it. No
Except
private company was forced to do it.
except they were facing massive liability if they didn't. I mean, at the end of the day, if they didn't,
What liability?
and the liability of the fact that the states are requiring it,
How?
and they are heavily tied to the states. The states were forcing it. You could not go to a
Wait,
restaurant, to
for
a concert. You could.
stay. Okay, I don't even. I swear to God, I think people like have like COVID dementia or something. I like a lot of this stuff. Be like, where did this happen? It wasn't. It still was up to those people. That's what I'm saying. Like they didn't have to enforce it. They just didn't want to be a source of
Hired.
spreading it.
No, they didn't want to be. They don't want to lose their jobs. And then when you have every
Yeah,
politician saying
no. As
exactly
an
that,
individual, no. As an individual, yes. If you work somewhere, you had to. I'm talking about them implementing that you have to get it. I'm talking about yes, on an individual level, we did have to decide if we was gonna lose our job in some fields. Yes, I agree. But some
are you
fields,
okay with that?
you in some fields, yes. In some fields, you have to get shots anyway, outside of COVID. And I'm not okay with it. I'm okay with it in certain fields. Yes, I don't have a problem with that.
I'm not okay with it at all. For me, I feel like
It's a
this is
public
all should
safety
be
issue.
public safety. I mean, so if I catch the flu, right, and now I build natural immunity, now I have to get the flu shot every year because it's a public safety issue, even though I catch the
Well,
flu.
you don't have to get COVID shots
Um,
every year. You had to get it when it was an epidemic. Public safety is it can be
yeah,
ongoing
but,
or it
but
can
but
be
even if
in a
you already
time
caught it,
frame
I could.
too.
They were
If
they were
E.
telling you
coli was
even if you
going
had it.
around, there was something to fix it, and I don't want to pick E. coli because that's a stupid one.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. I get it. No, I get it. I get it.
some viral
Polio.
infection,
Just make polio.
polio. Yes,
Polio.
if that ran rampant, I don't have a problem with them saying like if you don't have this vaccine, you should get it because look what it's doing to the world around us.
So here's
I don't have a problem with that, and that's
yeah,
a policy disagreement.
and well, yeah, that's a policy. And here's the issue though. And here's the libertarian argument, right? The libertarian argument is a private company can do what they want, right? So if I want to force everyone to have a vaccine, great. Well, the issue becomes is when government comes in and says, "Oh, you have unlimited liability protection." So if someone gets a vaccine and then they get, a heart issue because of it and end up dying because of that heart issue, they can't come. Their family can't come back and sue you. You're fully liable, given that liability
No,
protection.
nobody. Okay.
So, so they all do. They have liability protection. If you were forced by your employer to get a vaccine, and then you had a negative impact, which some people did, some people did, you can't go back and file a lawsuit against them for forcing you to in terms of your employment. You
You
just can't.
can't.
You can't go. You can't sue the pharmaceutical company. You can't sue the company. They have protections related to that. It'll get
Right.
thrown out. Um, Now that's the issue. The issue is, yeah, a private company can do what they want, but that doesn't mean they're waived from any liability issues, right? So if I force someone to eat fast food every day, you want to work here, you want to eat fast food every day and get your arteries clogged, and then they sue me because it was a requirement of the job. Yeah, I should be sued for that.
Well,
Um,
this is a bad comparison.
well, I mean, the idea is you're doing something, right? I'm
The
forcing you to do something. It's not the same in the sense of why I'm having you do it, but the idea is a company can have you do what they want you to do because in terms of the employment. But if it creates
yeah.
a negative outcome, you have the ability, typically, right, to file a lawsuit. If I work for a company and they force me to work with asbestos, it's part of my job employment, but then I catch cancer because of it, I can sue them. You can't do that with the vaccines. And
Because vaccines
neg-
scientifically the likelihood of it harming you is so low. And it's not that it's impossible because you can make that argument about anything. There's a risk of anything happening at any time.
yes,
But
but
asbestos
with
is
with
like
the mNRA technology, it's not necessarily known is it so low. It's new.
is
It's a new technology.
and
There
it's
is no
better
safety
than
studies.
traditional.
There is no
It's
safety studies.
yes, there
Um,
is. Why do y'all say
nope.
that?
Even
What?
because Fauci himself has not been able to produce to the point where RFK Jr. had to file a lawsuit against him
RFK
to,
Jr.
to
has
ask
filed lawsuits against him. Has lawsuits against him. He's got kids killed in other countries because of his anti-vax shit. You really gonna refer to
anti-vax,
RFK?
right? Well, I'm saying this in the sense of the fact is requested from RFK from Fauci when Trump was president, and I see the safety studies done around all these vaccines. And I'm not anti-vax. My kids are
I
vaccinated.
know you're
I go
not. I'm
through the
just
standard stuff.
saying.
But but the idea, the idea that especially with these COVID vaccines, Pfizer itself tried to ban releasing their studies for 50. Was it 50 years or 60 years? They had to pull the Johnson and Johnson vaccine off the market completely. So
Because it
people,
wasn't as
FD,
effective.
no, because it was causing heart issues, blood clots. Not that it's
No,
not effective. It was
no,
causing blood
no,
clots. So they had to pull
not
it.
in any. Wait, y'all be saying this, and it be like 4 people, and they want to make sure that to see what's going on before they continue to give it
They
out.
didn't pull
And
it
a
because
lot
it
of
wasn't
times,
effective.
no,
So the
the
point
side
is when
effects.
something's new, yeah, the point is when something's new and it's truly not
It was
tested.
no, it was tested. Don't
The
say
COVID
that.
vaccine was brand new. They were working on it
COVID.
right
Why
as
do you think it's
COVID was launching.
COVID-19? COVID wasn't brand new. That's why it's not COVID-20. It wasn't brand new. It was understood to be a thing, and they knew it existed, and it was already being worked on. Warp Speed fast-paced the process, but they didn't skip anything. So if you usually take 3 to 4 years to get the numbers that you need, all they did was get those numbers in
So
that time
so
frame.
was it
You care more
fully
about how
FDA?
many people you're tested on versus how long, because
So
vaccines don't sit in your body and like cause these long-term effects on a normal at any significant pace.
if you catch myocarditis, you can.
That
It doesn't go away.
myocarditis is mild, goes away, and is not as bad as the myocarditis that you can catch from actually COVID. And it was not
Possibly.
common. It wasn't common.
So
And if you did, it was
so
acute and it goes away. But COVID can make you
so
have it and it won't be acute.
yeah. So you
Side
look
effects
at
are
it.
a thing, but side effects
It
don't
was new.
disqualify
What so
vaccines.
okay, so was the vaccine fully FDA approved when they started creating the vaccine passports?
I don't remember that timeline, but I know my personal standard was I wasn't taking it until it was FDA approved. That was my
I can
only
tell
standard.
you it was not FDA
I didn't recall
approved. It
that.
was given under
I don't
emergency
remember. Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
And the
remember
only
that. That's
reason why it
why
was
I
an
wasn't taking
emergency,
it until it
which
was FDA
yeah,
approved.
which was funny because you had like the ivermectin thing, right? With the horse dewormer. You had that whole thing, and everyone on the left was saying it's a horse dewormer, even though it was being prescribed by
It-
doctors. And even though
well, there's
ultimately
2
Como,
ivermectins.
well, yeah, there's a human version. Of course, you're not
Right,
going to take a horse version.
right. But
You're going to be prescribed it by your doctor.
people thought that was recommended in the horse.
Yeah, yeah. Even Sanjay Gupta was on Joe Rogan. He goes, "Yeah, we shouldn't have said that." And you had Como out there saying, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't be taking this," and you think people are recommending this. And then later he's on PBD's podcast saying, "My doctor prescribed me ivermectin for COVID."
He lied on one of
So
those. I don't believe that.
I don't.
I don't even believe
I'll
that.
send.
I think he said
He
that
said
because he
he.
was on PBD. I'm not gonna lie. I think he
Nope.
said that because he was on
Yeah.
PBD, and they're
I wouldn't.
on that side of things
But then why would he say that? I mean, why
to
would he say
cater
this?
to
What,
them.
make himself look like
Doesn't
an
he
ass?
work? Doesn't he work for
Um,
him now?
he's only after that debate with Dave Smith, he's never been on his show ever again. So I think it was honestly, I think PBD kind of ployed him. I don't know if it's true, but I think he kind of ployed him to join his
Uh
organization,
huh.
get him in that debate, and he's never been on the
Huh.
show ever once since then.
Because I'm
You should
like,
watch
wait, I
it.
could have
It's a good
sworn
debate
he
with him and
worked for
Dave
him.
Smith.
Oh, I would
So
need to see that.
P,
Cuomo and
yeah,
Dave Smith.
yeah, I'll send it to you. No, it's yeah, Dave Smith and Cuomo on PBD. It's a great debate. Dave Smith, who I actually follow quite a bit, and share a lot of his sentiment, destroyed Cuomo, just destroyed him in that discussion.
It's so
So,
funny.
and
I disagree with Dave a lot, so it's just funny how like depending on how you view things, you're gonna be like, oh, they just it's just funny.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying I might agree with him in that debate because I'm not like a
Which is,
Cuomo fan.
and I think that's the
but
thing. Like, I think like from your perspective, I know we're about, I have a few more minutes left. I got until 11:30, but I think the truth is between Trump supporters, and I think this is general, and Harris supporters, there is more in common than people believe. It's just two different ways of looking at things. And I don't know how to marry that. I don't know how to bridge that gap of,
how do you?
you know,
Okay, this is a good ender.
I don't yeah, I don't know how to bridge that
It
gap
is.
of,
I think it's because it's Trump, and I don't think it's because we disagree on policies.
and that
To
might
the
be
extent,
true.
like,
And that
so
because And
I,
and that might be true. I can see how many, because Trump is arrogant, vocally arrogant. Um, I can see how that turns a lot of people off. I can see it, like,
I'm
obviously.
not turned off by
It
just
turn
the arrogance. I'm turned off by the insanity.
See, for me, I look at for me, again, and I go back to policy, specific policy. But even
I
then,
can't.
putting
How?
that
Okay.
aside, I look at I look at like in 2016, what turned me off is what I can imagine still probably turns people off too, because it's also people, they build a perception, and it is hard for most people to break out of that perception. It's hard for people to say, I can't stand this person, to turning into, I actually support this person. That's a very tough mental hurdle to get over. So once you set a perspective on something, most people don't change their minds, especially when they're adults, right? So once you kind of build this frame, you don't break out of it. So I don't know. Like I feel like every election cycle, we're told this is the biggest election. Democracy's on the line. That's
No,
what the
I've
left
never
says.
heard that till
The,
now.
the well, yeah. Well, you talk to the
Democracy.
Republicans back when you talk to the Republicans back when Obama was running. They called him a communist.
They
And
called
I
him.
remember
Yes,
back
they
then
did call
thinking,
him a
and I'm
communist.
like, he's not
Yeah,
a communist. I'm like, if anything, he's a corporatist. I'm like,
yeah,
so he's
yeah.
not
They was calling him a
free.
commie.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, he's not a commie. He's a corporatist. I'm like, he's pro. I mean, his wife sat on a board of who's really, his
Oh,
wife's really smart. His wife, before he was even involved, she was on the board of a food company in Wisconsin.
hmm.
Like these are people that are, they want their money. Like
Yes.
they're not communists.
Like
Um,
I want to, since you only got a few minutes left, let's end
uh,
this on the my one of my strongest claims. So, how do you continue to believe that he's for the people, for the country, for the Constitution with the elector scheme? Not January 6th and the
I
violence and
understand. Yeah.
the elector scheme that he doesn't even
Yeah.
say he didn't do. He says he needs immunity.
So when you say elector scheme, just so I make sure I think I know what you're talking about, but I want to make sure we're aligned. You're talking about all the legal claims against voter fraud, right? That potentially happened. Maybe who knows? Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't happen. I think part of it is, there is parts of that that I have questions on, and I think there's some validity. There's parts that I think are that shit, right? The whole Dominion thing, I never actually believed the Dominion. What I did believe during that whole situation is the legal claim, which the Supreme Court never ruled, which is why we still have this issue today, related to states, Secretary of States, changing their election laws without legislative approval, which the Trump's organization and that whole side claims is required under the Constitution to change election rules. And they changed these rules, and that's why. Supreme Court would not see that case. Back in Gore, when Gore challenged Bush for the election claims, and he was
Mhm.
denying that Trump won back in 2000, he was challenging Florida. That actually the Supreme Court heard. He settled it, and it was over. Once the Supreme Court heard it, they settled. They said Bush won, which actually I think it would have been better if Gore won. Maybe we would not have ended in Iraq, right? And millions of people would have lived if
Yeah,
Gore won. Maybe, who knows? But maybe, we would have gone to Afghanistan probably, but maybe not Iraq. And
and the housing
s-
crash.
oh, well, the housing crash I think was going to happen no matter what. No
Yeah,
matter, I mean, that's a whole nother
right.
topic.
Yeah.
But when I look at that, I think there's valid arguments to be made about the 2020 elections. But I think focusing on Dominion, focusing on some of these more conspiratorial things was just bad. It wasn't right. But it doesn't diffuse the fact that there is serious questions. I mean,
Okay.
there's
So
always there's always a certain level of voter fraud. The question becomes, is
how
it a
much?
lot or
Right.
is it a little?
Well,
Right?
yes. Nobody's saying it's zero, but
Yes. Yes.
there's no reason for me to believe it's significant to the point where it would change an election. So, but none of
And that
that
could be the
address.
case.
So none of what you said addressed the elector scheme, which is where Trump got 7 people to collude with him. He said, "You guys pretend we're gonna make these fake documents where you're signing to say that you're the legally picked electors for these 7 swing states that I want to just flip the vote on because I don't like the outcome." And
So was
you
that
go
what he
say
was
that
asking, or
no,
what
he
was
said
he asking Pence? What he was asking Pence to do was to send those electorates back to the states to certify.
no, he sent these people. There are some of these people are in jail right now.
So he
He's
sent them. He
Yes.
was the one. He
Trump.
signed it, and,
Trump. No,
and
no,
Trump
no.
said,
Trump
"These are my
had
electors."
Trump had 7 people sign the fake documents to say that they're the duly elected electors of the 7 swing states to turn and say he won, but they were not vetted or what's the word elected
Certified,
as
maybe?
picked as the electors
Yeah.
by the governors, or there was no legal proceeding to make them his slated electors. He went around his electors he would have had, got fake ones, and sent them to say he won.
It would be interesting to see the actual evidence that he's the one that directed them to do that, because
It's in
what
the
he was
Eastman
asking,
memos. It's in the indictment.
what he
Trump
was,
doesn't
what
deny
he
it
was,
himself. Trump does not
what
deny
he,
it.
yeah, what he was asking Pence to do ultimately. The ask to Pence wasn't to see these electors versus these electors. The ask to Pence,
Pence
which
was
I
his
think is,
last ditch effort. This was
oh no, for sure. So his ask to Pence was, send these electorates back to the states to be certified.
that
And
was
these
his
are the
that was
electorates. These are the electorates. I'm
no,
guessing
that
this
was
is what the case
after.
was. These are the electorates that I am supporting to be certified in those state legislators.
No.
Because that's what they did back in Hawaii.
No, no,
And
no, no,
Nixon
no,
did when
no,
he was
no,
VP.
no.
He sent those
Hawaii.
electors. Yep.
No. Hawaii were duly elected slates of electors. They were elected. They
So then,
were the
why did the VP have to deny them and send them back to be certified by
you
the
talking about
state
Hawaii?
back in the 60s? I'm talking about for JFK.
Yeah, for the whole you talking about the Hawaii votes. You talking about those electors.
Which year? Which year?
The 6th, I don't remember the year. The rate.
Oh, it's 1960s. Yeah,
Yeah.
for JFK. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure we're talking about the same time frame.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah,
yes,
so
no, those were they sent
Nixon
them
sent
because it was like
electors
wasn't
back.
it a few thousand, 100 votes or something?
So I think what happened is
Well,
Nixon
listen,
had
regardless,
an
they
issue
were
with,
elected. They were elected. That's not the same thing. If I
but Nixon
is
denied them.
alternate
Nixon did,
is alternate and fake the same thing,
alternate and fake are not the same thing.
right? Trump's were fake, not alternates. They were fake.
So
That's why these people are in jail. There's people.
but
Those
that's,
people are in jail for this
well,
right now.
well, first off, they probably took a plea deal, but
But they still, it was a crime.
because you're facing 30, 40. I mean, when the U.S. government comes after you for something, you're facing unlimited resources. If you fight it, they're going to go to the ball for you, and you're going to. So there's a lot of pressure to take plea deals, right? I think we can all agree if you're ever charged with a crime, the pressure to take a plea deal is insurmountable. But um, with electors, right? Ultimately, the ask was to send these to get them certified by the states, because from their position, and I agree with this position, but I can understand it's a legal issue, and I'm not a lawyer. The position is state legislators did not pass the codification for mass mail-in ballots. They did not pass and these certain rules on when they can accept the ballots, when they don't accept the ballots. And so the best argument, in my opinion, was the state legislator was supposed to do this. The Secretary of States did this without their approval. It's invalid. And I get that. For
But
me,
do
I
you
feel
realize
like,
that's totally separate than fake electors? That's like I know what you're talking about. Like
yeah,
some
yeah.
funny stuff. They always say some funny stuff, which is I get there's some argument there, but again, I don't think it would change the election. But that's just me. But this is not.
Of course
this
it would, right?
separate.
If people
This
weren't
is
able to leverage
separate.
mail-in ballots, how many people
You
would
got
have
what,
voted?
one state? Well, first of all, Trump told them don't mail in his ballots. Don't forget that.
I know,
He told
that
them
was
don't
silly.
do it.
And,
So
and guess what? Now this year he's saying early
exactly, he
vote.
said get out and early vote. That's
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
But no, that's separate than he colluded with these people. Him and Giuliani, Eastman, like
So
these. It's in the Eastman memos. You can read
yeah.
it in the indictment.
So what they've done to Giuliani is just, completely disrespectful to his legacy. I mean, I
Well,
feel
he
like,
disrespected his own legacy. Is my
oh,
First Amendment right to lie?
no, actually it is.
It is. But what type
I'm not
of
saying he
fucking
lied or
defense is
not.
that?
I don't. Yeah,
What type
I
of
don't know if
defense
he.
is that?
Yeah, I don't know if he lied or not.
He
Right?
said he
'Cause
did.
well, maybe you did because you're trying to do something. I don't know. Who
Because you're
knows?
trying to do something
But,
illegal. That's why.
yeah,
He
I mean, maybe. I don't know. But here's the
he
thing.
had to pay
The
out
first,
Ruby Freeman for lying. Like these people
for
are.
how much?
First of all,
And,
you
and for
say
what?
these people are corrupt. You say like all these people are evil and corrupt, and the people that are corrupt are the people on Trump's side. And it's like, oh no, they're doing this.
No. So Here's part of the issue. Here's part of the issue. And this is the perspective, right? We wrap it up pretty soon here, but here's the perspective that here's the viewpoint of the average Trump voter. And I think I have this. I think I can agree with this. They're all corrupt. Every one of them. Harris, Biden, Obama, the Bushes, the Clintons, the even Trump has some corruption in there. The issue you run into is that there's two versions of this, right? The establishment party, right? Like there's a uniparty, right? Republicans, Democrats, there's a uniparty. You could say Boehner was part of this, and even Kevin McCarthy, I think, was part of this, and Nancy Pelosi, and like the Al Smith dinner is a clear example of this. You watch the Al Smith dinner, you watch some of the side videos. Him and Trump and
Uh,
Schumer are
Schumer laughing
laughing.
together. Yeah.
They're joking. They're like Trump's got his arm on his shoulder. It's a big club. Right? It's a big club.
Well, I don't
And
know.
so
When
that's
you and your wife go out and y'all fighting, y'all don't let everybody else know you fighting either.
not when you claim the other person is a threat
It's
to
evil. Yeah,
democracy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not
I
when
know.
you're
I'm being
comparing the
funny. I
other
know
person to
it
Hitler.
is
Yeah.
weird. It's weird.
So what this tells you is what they're going after Trump for is what they're all guilty of. Every single one of them. Trust me.
I just
I
think they could do that with
guarantee
every. I don't. It's just this hasn't happened
if
to any other political
they locked up
opponent.
our governor,
This.
they locked up our governor Blagojevich, who I think was a great governor. If you look into Blagojevich back in the day, he was a great governor. Went after him because he mentioned during a call, which every politician talks like this. With Obama being elected president, I have the Senate seat. This thing is golden. It's not untrue. This is what every politician would always say every single time. He just didn't realize that it was going to come back and bite him because he wasn't playing ball with Madigan.
What did he say?
So,
I actually don't know
oh,
what did
so
he say?
former governor Blagojevich, if you look into it, he was charged for trying to sell Senator Barack Obama's Senate seat when Barack Obama was elected to the presidency, right? So
Okay.
Obama was elected president, leaving this vacancy in the Senate seat.
Right.
And the governor appoints, per the Constitution, the new senator. And they were floating the name of Jesse Jackson Jr. They were floating, various different people's names. And Blagojevich, who was the governor of Illinois at the time, who was a good governor, he was a Democrat, good governor. I think, you look at it, he did a lot of good things. He did, growing
Mhm.
up, he had health care provided for low income
Mhm.
children through, I think it was called All Kids Care. I was one of those kids that was my health insurance. He gave, he made it where it made economic sense for elderly and disabled people to take public transportation for free. He was just a good governor, but he wouldn't play ball with Madigan, who was really the king of Illinois, right? And what happened was he was caught on a recording saying this open Senate seat, this thing is fucking golden. He goes, I'm not just going to give it up for nothing.
Mhm.
Now, this is what every politician in his position would be thinking and saying and doing. He was recorded. And because he wasn't exactly in line and doing exactly what Madigan wanted, they went after him and he went to jail for 11, 12 years. Trump ended up expediting his prison sentence, which was the right thing to do, um, all because of some words he said, not what he did. Right. We think these things are somehow unique only to Trump. It's the whole system. It's the
Well,
whole system.
my only
So,
thing,
and I'm not saying it's right.
yeah.
I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is when I look in the whole standard mainstream media is against him, I see the largest number of billionaires backing Harris.
If
The richest
everybody
man,
do it,
Elon
then
Musk, and a couple other
but
supporting
that
Trump.
kind of doesn't make any sense.
And then I
If
see all the war hawks. I see the Cheneys. I see the Boltons. I see all these old school Republicans that caused us to be in war in Iraq, caused us to be in war in Afghanistan, wants endless wars. They're all backing Harris. That tells me one thing. For me, that's one of the biggest kickers is when all the war hawks and all these corrupt institutions are backing one side. I think the other side might be where I want to be because
that just goes deeper because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe anything without proof. It's just like it's like oh everybody doing it. That's why they after
I
Trump.
understand. And I
It's
understand what you're
like
saying.
I can't. I'm not gonna sit here and speculate on man. I ain't got no proof, but I think this was be happening. It's like you can make educated guesses, but the more people you
I
get
don't know.
involved, the
When
more
when
people.
Dick Cheney and his daughter are back in Harris,
Yeah, because that I
I
see
mean,
that
that guy's
as
rotten.
wait. First
If
of
you
all,
think
I
he's
think
worse than Trump, I
no,
mean,
no, no,
Jesus.
no. I think that's an indication of how bad Trump is. Everything isn't about
Oh,
policy, and that's my point.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
everybody's not like, man, we gotta get to war. Let's get Trump out of here. I think that would be.
They do
It's
want to go to
easy.
war because
It's
that's how they make
easy.
money.
It's easy to say that you disagree with him politically, but still vote for him. Or you,
Yeah,
I think when it's like this ain't even about parties anymore, because it's.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't think most people that's against Trump is thinking about policy. It's like this man is actually insane, and he has the potential to turn this country into something it's not. Especially when you look at his fan base, like. What other group of people they treat it? It's literally a cult. People are saying, "Oh, Trump can do no wrong," and you got found Republicans trying to kill him, found Republicans burning ballot boxes. Somebody's threatening Harris supporters at the ballot with a knife. Like it's just, I'm not saying that's the average Trump supporter, but he's been so divisive for this country that people are tired of it. It's not about policies and wars. Like I don't care
But the left is
about
just as
I don't
guilty of
care
that too,
about
right? I
Democrats and
mean,
Republics. I
yeah,
liked
yeah.
John McCain. So you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
I
it's
did not
just
like John McCain.
but
John
but
McCain, I
you
thought
don't
was
like him because
the
of
worst.
policy. I think he had good
Yes.
character. So that's what I'm saying.
Ah.
I'm not
No,
saying
here's
that
the
he
thing,
would.
though.
I'm not.
No,
I'm not
bomb,
saying.
bomb,
I'm not
bomb,
even
bomb,
saying I
bomb,
would have
Iran.
voted for him. I'm not saying I would have voted for him. But I would
Yeah.
not be out here saying he's a threat to democracy
So
you know what I'm saying. I'll
here's a
just
question.
disagree
Here's a que-
politically.
you think John McCain had good character? He spent his whole career as a senator, making 200 grand a year, let's say. Yeah, he owned over 14, 15 properties, millions of dollars worth. He was probably worth about 30, 40 million dollars. Where did that money come from? When you spent your whole life as a senator making 200 grand a year, never actually doing anything real, right? Just being you get this money through deals, right? So, you know, another thing is, I mean, granted, now maybe it's different today because of Truth Social. But when Trump left office, he lost more money than he was when he went in. He's the
I
one
don't.
of the few presidents that became poor.
And yeah, now he's
Today,
selling you
today it's different with
silver
Truth
and
Social.
$500 shoes and selling you virtual
Actually,
trading. He's
speaking about silver,
that's insane. And you know how much silver costs, and you bought it.
I bought it for one. I bought one. I have a lot of silver, so I'm always buying silver.
But you know how much it costs, and you still bought that coin.
It was $100. Yeah, it was $100. Silver is like 35 right now.
Exactly.
Typically, there's like three. You could probably normally pick silver up for 40, 50 bucks.
But see, I don't want to say
you know,
you're in a cult, but you're in a cult. Like this is actually crazy to me. Like
no,
you know how much
the
silver
difference
costs. You bought it. You bought the shoes. He got virtual trading cards. All this. You know,
I don't buy the cards. I don't buy
just,
NTF.
I think he's just running to stay out of jail. That's just my opinion. But
no, I get it. I get it. I mean, for me, this is more just fun, right? Like there's things you buy that just for shit.
That's why them tax benefits. That's why you like them tax benefits. You in a bracket that most people not in. That's why you say you got them tax benefits.
But anyway, I have to wrap this up. But this has been a good conversation. I really actually enjoyed it.
It was fun.
I definitely want to. Anyone that's still listening, definitely like and subscribe. Right? Like this video, subscribe to Illogic's channel. Let's definitely do this again. Let's talk about some other issues. I got some, more economic issues if you're ever interested. I'll send you some
like
links
a schooling. I'm not that versed in economics, so
and people might think I'm wrong, but we can definitely expand this to more than just politics. So
no, I mean, yeah, it's other stuff to always talk about, but
how many days? How many days? We're gonna find out
4?
who ends up winning in 4 days. Yeah, maybe more because there's the mail-in ballot, so that'll probably take a couple days. But my biggest hope, anyone that's listening, no matter who wins, if it's Harris and you're on Trump's side, or if it's Trump and you're on Harris's side, just be peaceful.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. Don't forget, no president has that much control over your lives. We have control over our own lives. Ultimately, they control energy policy, and they control foreign policy. But there's, your local governments have more control over you than a president does.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Be aware, be knowledgeable, and vote, and be active, and just remember, we're all Americans.
Yeah. All right, appreciate you. Yeah, I'll probably stream like if we don't know by Wednesday night. If we don't have an answer, I'll probably stream. Hell, if we do have an answer, I'll probably stream Wednesday night.
Yeah.
If you want to hop on, we could you can hop on. I'll just be kicking it, probably playing the game and talking.
Yep, yep.
All right.
All
Appreciate you,
right. All
man.
right. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, bye.
All right, y'all. That was that, man. Oh, they got all these Spider-Man, Halloween noises going. That was fun, man. First kind of debate. It was it didn't go exactly how I wanted. I got a lot of notes, y'all. I had a lot of points. Excuse me, but I couldn't get to it all, especially in a short amount of time. I had a lot of points though. I didn't get through. Appreciate you, D Nice, for watching. You feel me? That was fun, man. I'm gonna do more debates though for sure. I like doing that. But yeah, he a talker. So like once he get going, he was nonstop, and it'd be like, you know what, we was talking about stuff that I was trying to get through his character before I got through to the policy stuff. But regardless, it was still fun. It was pretty freaking fun. I know I'm gonna be streaming on election day. Oh, let me flip this back. I mean, not election day. I'm gonna stream. Oh no. Yeah, bro. Like I was trying to be on track with the conversation, and I couldn't. It was hard. Debate. Thank you, Creed. Thank you. Yeah, I had so many notes, y'all. I had so many notes. Hold on. I gotta fix this. My bad. I had so many notes and I couldn't get through them. Like I had all these points, but I just could not get to them. Some of them I was just jotting down just for like remembering just things, but it was like I couldn't get to all this stuff. Difficult. But I'm trying to decide if I want to stay on and like kick it and play the game, or I do got some errands I need to run. What y'all on, man? Yeah, bro, I had a bunch of shit. What y'all on, man? What y'all on today? Y'all on the game? Y'all chilling? Y'all working? Getting money? I see a name in here I never seen. Anybody want to hop on and chat about anything? I'm down for that too. Anything? Play house party. Working. What you mean play house party? Oh, the game. Oh, the game. You funny as hell. Man. Nah, man, that game. I'm so bad. I got stuck, bro. I got stuck in that game. Nobody should need to make points about Trump. I mean, the blatant deportation of people, etc., on a mass scale should be enough for nobody. Dan, I don't know if it's Daniel or Danny Hell. Sorry if I mispronounce it, but that's one thing. But like, before I could even get into like policy stuff, I just feel like there's so many non-starters with Trump. Like before I can't have a conversation about, well, what do you want to do for the country if I think that you're crazy from jump? Like, let me know that you're not a crazy person. Yeah, you try to get me kicked off, bro. If I upload it right now, it's gonna be titties on the screen. Cause it's gonna leave off where I had it. But yeah, Danny Hell, it's just too like I said, all politicians lie, but the way he lies is just like, yeah, like I'm gonna give you $1 million type of shit. Like it's just the eating the cats and dogs stuff. They told him he was wrong. He's still. She's talking about, you gotta stop playing with me. Talk about my boy. I can't stand you. Go run them errands. I gotta get the oil change. I gotta check Spirit. Gee, wife don't leave you alone nowhere. She said, yeah, quit playing. but yeah, like denying the election, the elector scheme, like it's just like the man told y'all that no, I'm choosing to be the president. I don't care about nothing anybody votes. Y'all lying. I'm the president. I'm finna send these fake people to say I'm the president so I can win all the states that clearly are swing states. It's just like I just don't get how you get past somebody being this crazy. Everybody that work for the man say, hey, this dude crazy. Maybe he shouldn't be president. Like, they ain't got no incentive to be looking for any future position. These are 3- and 4-star generals. Their life was dedicated to the military, and they just want to do the rest of their life doing what they can for their country with no incentive behind it. And it's like, I agree with him politically, but he's crazy. He shouldn't be president. He puts himself before the Constitution. He puts himself before the country. It's like like I said, Trump, there's never a point where Trump, they said Trump, they said the cats and dogs things is not true. Why are you still saying it? I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. That's what I got to go see what's happening. No, it's been confirmed. They didn't. I haven't been there. I don't know. Say, did you know that the comedian was going to go on stage and call Puerto Rico an island of garbage? I don't know. They said it was a comedian there. I didn't see him. I didn't hear the joke. I don't know what happened. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't book him. I don't know. It's just like, who wants this person to lead them? The man don't know anything, because clearly, let me show y'all, fam. Look at this, y'all. If you have not seen this, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's so like I said, when people talk about mental capacity, Joe Biden is slow as hell, and I think he's too old to be president. But he can speak and know what he's saying. It just takes him forever. That's my problem. If y'all have not seen this, listen to this answer to this question.
And the final,
you talked about how the workforce is the economy and economic issues
really
that's
long.
facing our, with the majority of American families of young children spending more than 20% of their income on childcare. One thing that Democrats and Republicans have in common is that both, but neither, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
What can you do to make childcare affordable, and what specific piece of legislation would you put out to help childcare be affordable, basically?
I would do that, and we're sitting down. I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, because look, childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country.
You probably forgot the question she asked. She said, what specific piece of legislation would you put out to make childcare affordable?
Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country, because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by
what the fuck did he just say? He's not saying anything.
We're going to be getting trillions of dollars, and as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into...
And here go another one.
That they should be allowed to put those bad votes and illegal votes back in and let the people vote. So I haven't gotten over years.
Maybe we can change the subject to technology, seeing you wouldn't answer about the Federal Reserve. The U.S. Justice Department is thinking about breaking up Alphabet, as Google likes to be known now. Should Google be broken up?
I just haven't gotten
Should Google be broken up?
over something the Justice Department did yesterday, where Virginia cleaned up its voter rolls and got rid of thousands and thousands of bad votes, and the Justice Department sued them that they should be allowed to put those bad votes and illegal votes back in and let the people vote. So I haven't gotten over that. A lot of people have seen that. They can't even believe it.
The question is about Google, President Trump.
Yeah, look, Google's got a lot of power. They're very bad to me. Very, very bad.
Everything about him is very bad to me. Everything's about him.
I can speak from that standpoint.
He say, should Google be broken up? Yeah, I forgot about the Department of Justice. They put in those bad votes from Virginia. I haven't gotten over it. What?
They only have bad stories. In other words, if I have 20
I don't think he
good
said bad
stories,
bugs.
speak from a lot of power. They're very bad to me. Very, very bad to me. I mean, I can speak from that standpoint. They only have bad stories. In other words, if I have 20 good stories and 20 bad stories, and everyone's entitled to that, you'll only see the 20 bad stories. And I called the...
Yeah, and if Biden would ever do something like this, it would be he needs to step down as president right now. There's no reason Joe Biden should be on stage speaking like this. Like, they would lose their shit. Meanwhile, he says, should Google be broken up? And he says, yeah, the Department of Justice put in those bad votes. Like, what? How is this acceptable? Why do you want this person to lead you? How is this? Kamala's not perfect. She stutters sometimes. She answers questions badly. But even in the bad answer, you know that she understood the question. At the very least, he has the best brain. It works better than anybody else, let me tell you. I'm guessing you being sarcastic. Maybe not. What's the other one? I got rid. I think I put it in my video, though. What else? The one I'm gonna put the Tony Hinchcliffe, his response to about Tony. Is they gonna play it? No, I want to hear it, not read it.
With 1 week left in the race for the White House, today former President Trump is at Mar-a-Lago ahead of a rally tonight in Pennsylvania, trying to do damage control after the fallout from his rally in Madison Square Garden over the weekend.
I don't care.
Several speakers on stage made racist, misogynistic, and crude comments, including one from a comedian.
Anything.
Puerto Rico to an island of garbage.
I don't think anybody has ever seen anything like what happened the other night at Madison
Calling
Square
it a
Garden.
night of love.
The love in that room.
He called that a night of love. He called January 6th a night of love.
Trump this morning telling ABC News he has not watched the comedian's comments, insisting, quote, "I don't know him. Someone put him up there. I don't know who he is." Trump's campaign has tried distancing itself from the comedian, saying his comment doesn't reflect the views of the former president, but has not denounced the other comments made at the rally.
Vice President Harris accuses Trump of stoking hate and division. And tonight,
like, he was it Sean Hannity? Oh, here we go.
So you have this big event at Madison Square Garden. It went on for hours. I don't even know if you were there for the whole thing. I don't know what time you got there. I was told and made aware that you had no idea about this comedian who made comments.
I have no idea who he is. Somebody said there was a comedian that joked about Puerto Rico or something, and I have no idea who he was. Never saw him, never heard of him, and don't want to hear of him. But I have no idea. They put a comedian in, which everybody does. You throw comedians in. You don't vet them and go crazy. It's nobody's fault. But somebody said some bad things. Now, what they've done is taken somebody that has nothing to do with the party, has nothing to do with us, said something, and they try and make a big deal. But I don't know who it is. I don't even know who put him in. And I can't imagine it's a big deal. I've done more for Puerto Rico than any president, I think, that's ever...
No, you didn't. You withheld aid from Puerto Rico, too. Oh, my God. This is what, like, the lies, it's the magnitude of the lies is what I just can't get over. I don't know. When are you ever going to take responsibility for anything? He called J6 a day of love. Oh, to the man, the freaking Hispanic man asked him, this is the moment when Trump disqualified himself for president. Right. Like, this is insane.
I am a Republican, no longer registered though.
He up here like, I want you to plead your case why you should gain back my vote.
The opportunity to try to win back my vote. Okay. Your let me say action and maybe inaction during your presidency and the last few years, sort of,
They need to just stop with the makeup on Trump. It looks crazy.
Was a little disturbing to me. What happened during January 6th, and the fact that, you waited so long to take action while your supporters were attacking the Capitol. Coronavirus, I thought the public was misled during coronavirus, and that many more lives could have been saved if we would have been informed better. Mm-hmm. And also people in your administration who don't support you. I'm curious how people so close to you and your administration no longer want to support you, so why would I want to support you? If you would answer these questions for me, I would really appreciate it and give you the opportunity. There's, your own vice president doesn't want to support you now.
Yep. Thank you, Ramiro.
So the people that don't support a very small portion. We have a tremendous, everything. About 97% of the people in the administration support me.
No, 98% of the people left your administration.
But because it's me, somebody doesn't support, they get a little publicity. The vice president, I disagree with him on what he did. I totally disagreed with him on what he did. Very importantly, you had hundreds of thousands of people come to Washington. They didn't come because of me. They came because of the election. They thought the election was a rigged election, and that's why they came. Some of those people went down to the Capitol. I said peacefully and patriotically, nothing done wrong at all, nothing done wrong. And action was taken, strong action. Ashley Babbitt was killed. Nobody was killed. There were no guns down there. We didn't have guns. The others had guns, but we didn't have guns. And when I say we, these are people that walked down. This was
said we, so he resonates with those people.
A tiny percentage of the overall, which nobody sees and nobody shows. But that was a day of love from the standpoint of the millions. It's like hundreds of thousands. It could have been the largest group I've ever spoken before. They asked me to speak. I went and I spoke, and I used the term peacefully and patriotically. If you look at the Democrats, what they say, you look at Maxine Waters and you look at Hillary Clinton and you look at what they say.
Yeah, Cree, I mean, it's partially ego because he couldn't accept the loss, so he want to redeem himself. But I think a big part of it is to avoid going to jail for the Georgia case.
And they don't put that on. They only put Republicans on. But they couldn't get me because of the fact that I said everything's got to be peaceful and patriotic. And we'll see how it all works out. But I think that we're right now in another election. All I want is honest elections. I'm willing to take any chance. I want honest elections.
Did I miss it?
Of the millions, it's like from the standpoint of the millions shows. But that was a day of love from the standpoint of the millions. It's like hundreds of thousands. It could have been the largest group I've ever spoken.
A day of love is, oh, God. Like, what universe are we in, bro? I said always say conflicted assistance. Ashley was killed. Nobody was killed. Those things are blatant textbook examples of manipulators and sociopaths. Yeah, because it's like, is he trying to say that, well, you can't even say that I think he's trying to say that nobody on the police side was killed. And then at the same time trying to say, well, Ashley got killed, which was somebody on my side. So he's trying to say that as if his side wasn't violent. Somebody on our side got killed. I'm sorry. Nobody feels bad for Ashley getting killed besides, I don't even know if you really do, if you really care. But you know what I can say? I think it's fucked up. Donald Trump is responsible for the death of two of his own supporters directly. Ashley Babbitt and Corey Competore from the assassination attempt. Two people have died on behalf of supporting this man and his fucking delusions. It just hit me. It's like, people act like, oh, Trump is this just another, well, they don't act like he's just another politician, but they act like the level that people treat him is unwarranted. What other politician has directly, I'm not talking about like sending troops out to the military because that's what they sign up for, but how many other politicians have gotten their own supporters killed off of delusions that they created? It's like, that's not okay. One was enough. Now it's two. And I'm sorry, I don't want to say it, but I think if he loses, it's not going to be pretty out there. I really don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't know if it'll be a Jan 6 type of thing, but I think that there's some portions and pockets of MAGA that's going to do some shit to somebody somewhere. I don't want that to be the case, but the way his base is insane. If Kamala loses, there's not going to be fucking Democrats out in the streets rioting or people that's on the left rioting. I don't believe that's going to happen. And that's the difference in this situation. Yeah, like and he's already riling up his base to think if he loses, he cheats. He has not admitted. They keep asking him, if you lose, is it going to be a fair? He said, what are you going to do if you lose or something? And he's been constantly saying like, well, if everything goes right, I won't lose type shit. Like, I'll accept it if everything is free. And he's only saying it's a free and fair election if he wins. Dude in New Mexico talking about we could have won. If God comes down, I will win California. Bro, you're not winning California. You're not winning New Mexico. Why are you in New Mexico? And just because you have 200 people there, you think you're going to win the state? Like, come on. Even if Kamala went to a state that she knew she wasn't going to win, she is not finna be in there saying, I could have won. I know I would have won Texas. Like, stop, bro. Stop. Or Joe would have won Texas or whatever. Like, it's not just about policy and I don't agree with this person. I've never felt this much animosity towards a Republican in my life. Like, ever. It's ridiculous, bro. And I can't understand how anybody supports him. It's actually scary how people can support somebody like that. I don't know how much policy you can agree on with him to be willing to deal with his nonsense and his lies and he's stupid. He keeps talking about tariffs and doesn't even know what tariffs are. That's another point I wanted to bring up. I'm going to ask him, like, I should have asked Steven, I was going to be like, do you think Trump knows what a tariff is? Because the man keeps saying, yeah, it's not going to be a tax on you. It's a tax on China. Yeah, we're going to do tariffs all across the board. Tariffs for every other import. It's going to be tariffs. But it won't be on the you. It'll be on them. He don't know what tariffs are. Said Trump, Putin, Xi, and want a new world order. Why is it not showing messages? Like, I see it on the stream avatar, but it's not showing up in my chat. Yeah, this is why I don't stream straight to YouTube and I use my Restream instead of going straight to YouTube because it don't block off chat. And that's why I'm not using this shit no more, but I had to schedule this, so that's why I did it. Yeah, man. But I'm going to run some errands. I might get on here later. Danny Hale, I don't know if you already subscribed or not, but if you have not, I would appreciate a like and a sub, especially because you've been hanging out with me for most of this stream. I appreciate the support. Creed, D-Nice, Ross, everybody. My wife came through and everything. I had a few people that I never seen before. Iron Zodiac, appreciate any and everybody that came through. Make sure, like I said, if you made it to this point of the stream, make sure to leave a like, comment, sub, if not one. Then all three, I will upload this video as a VOD later on. So till next time, y'all, this Logix. Peace.